Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome back to another Sims 4 video, or welcome to the channel if you are new here. So in today's video, I'm not going to be doing a speed build, and instead I thought it was finally time to actually sit down and give you a little bit of a tour of my work in progress save file. Now, just to be clear from the very get-go, my save file is not complete. It's still got quite a long way to go, but I just want to kind of give you a tour to show you where I'm at with it. I want to show you all of the houses that I've built so far, not individually because we'll be here forever, but you know, I wanted to give you kind of like a general overview of the neighbourhoods and show you a few of the Sims that live in them, whether it be townies that I've given makeovers to, or you know, new families and stuff. I've had this video requested so many times, and if I'm being honest, I've always been a little bit nervous to show you, which sounds really silly because I hold this save file so like close to my heart. It sounds so silly, but I'm just, this is like my pride and joy is my save file. I've been working on it for, no joke, about 6 years now, and I don't know, I just feel like where I've been working on it for so long at this point, I would have kind of expected from myself to have posted, you know, a version of it so far, but you know, I haven't, and it's just the way that it is. But I do want to say on that same kind of token that eventually when I will be releasing my save file, I'm going to be doing my save file in multiple different versions. And what I mean by that is the first version, I'm going to really try and have a good handful of worlds complete with all different townies that have got, you know, skills and hobbies and jobs and relationships and stuff. But then some of the other worlds won't be as complete. The reason why I've decided to do this is because I've done a lot of maths, to be honest with you, and I figured out if I wanted to complete every single world, you know, give every single townie a makeover, completely overhaul the whole entire Sims 4 and have that be my first version of my save file, it's gonna be years until that happens. And so yeah, no, I'm not going to be doing at first a complete redo of the world. I'm gonna be doing it in stages. I really hope that makes sense, but either way, really hope you've got yourself a cup of tea, and also would recommend getting quite comfortable. I'm currently sitting here with quite a thick blanket on. It's also chucking it down outside, so if you can hear any pitter patter of the rain on my windows, apologies for that. But yeah, let's actually get into it. But first things first, I wanted to kind of talk about what is going on the screen right now, just in case you're curious of what my loading home main menu is looking like. So this is a main menu override by Simatically. You can actually see in the corner down here, this is the official name if you wanted to go, you know, grab it yourself. It is a dynamic kind of like main menu override, which when you load into the game, instead of having, you know, your Sims appear, have loads of different ads over here, and you know, it's a bit of an eyesore sometimes, it's kind of like a nice, refreshed, just clean and just simple and basic, lovely little home menu, if you want to put it that way, and I absolutely love it. If you want to, you can actually toggle the ads on if that's your thing. You can toggle it over here. But then also, if you want to see your household, which this is actually one of the Sims families in, this one's actually Chestnut Ridge, which, to be fair, I feel like you could probably guess, but the reason why they're here is because there's a little bit of lore and drama and also a mini game with this family in my save file. And cut a long story short, because you're gonna be curious, basically you see this woman here, this is lovely Faith Jackson. She had a little affair once upon a time, and it resulted in her daughter over here, Ren Jackson. Now basically, the reason why they have popped up as my last loaded in household is because in my save file, Ren's dad is actually walking about. But, and I'll show you this because I'm very excited about it, but I've made a mini game in my save file for this household in their home, and basically you can try and play the mini game and discover who Ren's dad is. But I'm also going to be showing you some of my family trees that I've got going on in my save file so far, and it will be a spoiler. And so they are my last opened up household because I quickly popped into the game. I I'm in a version of my save file, or at least I will be when I click resume, but it's a version of my save file where I completely remove the relationship, so there is going to be no spoilers because I put so much thought, time and effort into just this one little family and kind of like a little mini game that you can play with them, that I didn't want to spoil it in this overview. But yeah, with this main menu, if you want to see your family, you can click this little button. But I don't know, I kind of like this kind of idea of a nice clean menu. But either way, enough yapping, let's actually get on. And oh, that was a bit loud, wasn't it? Okay, I think that might be a bit better, but either way, let's actually pop into my save file. You're gonna see some different things. I have build-in saves, a version of my save file. This is my personal household actually, and a little bit of like, that's Don Lothario. This man right here, that is Don Lothario. I'm playing with him off camera, but either way, let's actually jump into the game. So as you can see, I have done a good chunk of the world of Willow Creek. I've still got 3 residentials to do. This one over here for the Spencer Kim Lewis family. This one, which will be a starter home. And then this one, which will be kind of similar to the house across the street with multiple different houses on. I'm yet to build that for the BFF household, but I will say, and admittedly, one of the reasons why I've been a little bit hesitant to share my save file is I'm a little bit embarrassed that I haven't done any of the different community lots in this world yet. Thing is, I am someone that, and I mean, I feel like if you was to look in certain neighbourhoods, you can kind of get this idea, but I like to build with particular architectural styles in my save, and I just don't have a Scooby right now. What is this official called? Crawdad Quarter. I don't know. I always call it the community lot venue area in Willow Creek, but I just don't know what this area is going to look like yet, so I haven't tackled them. I've built on them before in the past, but over time I've not liked the direction that I've taken them in, and so I thought, you know what, until I'm completely set in the art style I want for these different venues, I'm going to leave it alone. However, I do have some quite like exciting plans for the park in this world. Now, I'm not sure if you're someone that ever played The Sims 3, but pretty much in The Sims 3 there was different festivals depending on the season, and I loved it in The Sims 3, and I'm so gutted that in The Sims 4 we don't have anything like that built into the game. And so I've decided for my save file for Magnolia Blossom Park, I'm going to make 4 different versions of it. It will be like the same structured buildings, but I want to make a version for every different season in the game. So one for like an autumn festival with like a pumpkin patch and stuff, and one for a winter festival with maybe like some Christmas markets. I've got so many different ideas, but yeah, I just haven't filmed it yet. And this is the thing as well, we've shown you the save file. It's going to be a little bit like, I've got so many different ideas, but I haven't got around to it yet because this is just such a time consuming project. Don't get me wrong, I'm loving it, like I love this so much, but everything takes time and, you know, one step in front of the other kind of situation. But yeah, this is kind of like a nice little overview of the world of Willow Creek. Over here in the Fondry Cove neighbourhood, now this is pretty much the starter neighbourhood in the world, and like I said, I'm still yet to build a starter home on this particular lot. Now weirdly, I have actually made family members for each one of these different houses. I just haven't moved them in yet because basically this lot in particular, this 3 homes 1 lot, and then this 2 home 1 lot, not very creative names, but I'll change the actual names eventually. But basically I'm going to be making them residential rentals in my save file, but some people do experience save corruption issues with for rent. I'm going to admit I've never personally experienced any for rent issues in this save file or in any of my personal saves, but just as a little bit of a precaution, if you will, I'm not going to set these to be rental units just yet, not until I'm, you know, ready to kind of release it, or, you know, they might eventually patch in some of the different save corruption things. I really hope they do, but you know, I have actually created each of the families, and instead of me popping into the managed worlds and trying to dig through all the different families, I'm going to quickly run and pop them into each of the individual houses and then kind of show you from there. Okay, so I've just moved in the household. So in this first little house over here, this is Veronica Fisher and Kevin Ball's home. They live here with their 2 children. They've got Jason Ball and Gemma Ball. Now, I'm not sure if you're someone that has ever seen the TV show Shameless. If you have, you might recognise these characters. I absolutely love the US Shameless TV show. There is a UK version. I've personally never seen it. Love the US version. And when it came around to thinking about what type of characters I want to have in the starting out neighbourhood in Willow Creek, I just thought that Veronica and Kev would, yeah, be really nice neighbours. With them, we have Sophia. So Sophia lives in this little blue house, or as I should say, she will eventually, but basically she's a single girlie. I wanted you to, if you wanted to have a friend straight away in my save file, your neighbour is a really good candidate. She's a lovely girl, she likes cats, she's loyal, and she's also a bookworm. Her bit of backstory is she pretty much bought her little home over here, this little blue one, with her ex-boyfriend, and they saved up for years. They put down a mortgage on this house. They finally got it, they moved in, and then shortly after they broke up, and it's kind of left her a little bit heartbroken. But yeah, that is them 2 different families. And then over across the road we have, first things first, Edgar Jameson. Now this gentleman lives in this kind of like orangey beigey kind of house, and basically he's a little bit of a grumpy old man. I wanted there to be a bit of a older character on this particular block, in this street, in this neighbourhood, that was a little bit grumpy. Everyone's a little bit scared of him. I imagine that people maybe try and wind him up a little bit, but yeah, he lives in the middle home. And then next to him we have I can't remember the last name, the Clark family. So we have Robert Clark and Harper Clark, and they've got a little boy who is called Bowen Clark. Now, Robert actually has a sister who is a pre-existing townie in the world of Brightchester, who is called Becca Clark. We'll see her at some point, but yeah, this is her older brother. Harper also does have some relatives. By the way, this is going to be very much a recurring theme, and I'm going to explore a few different family trees with you. Not all of them, because we'll be here forever, but basically family trees and kind of like blendedness is very much a thing in this save. There is so many different family relationships, whether it be cousins, uncles, aunts, grandmothers, like so many different types of relationships. But she is the brother of a sim in the world of Strangerville. Her brother's called Dylan Sigworth. And so she's got like a lovely little niece who cannot remember her name off the top of my head, but we'll see her. And then the last 2 Sims that live in this lovely little grey house in the end, this is Hannah Marshall and her girlfriend Amisha Verma. Now, Amisha wants to be an artist, and so you can see that she has got the painter extraordinaire aspiration. And Hannah, she wants to be a mentor, and basically the direction that I want to eventually take her in is that she wants to one day own a gym in the world of Willow Creek. I'm thinking eventually this one, when I do, one day give it a makeover. But that is them 3 houses. So like I said, these homes eventually will be residential rentals. I'm just doing a little bit of precaution work to avoid any sort of save corruption issues, which thankfully I have never run into, and I really hope that I never do run into. I have also backed up this save, I'm not joking, probably about 15 plus times. Actually, I'll show you. Yeah, so this is my backup of my save file. There might be some, if I haven't actually read, I didn't check through these before I started, showing you this, but I have backed up this save file multiple times, and there was versions before this, don't get me wrong, but they were so old and my computer can only have so much space in it. But I have got multiple backups, so don't worry, if anything ever does hit the fan, we're good, we're covered. But over here, also in this neighbourhood, we have the Jennings household. Now, in this household, I know it probably looks like a really big family for such a small little lot, and basically the reason for that is because a lot of the Sims I'm going to give you a quick preview of in this little tour, I made for the grave. And what I mean by that is I made them to give certain Sims such a bit of depth and lore, and I want them to have a little bit of a backstory. You know, I wanted there to be family relationships that, you know, they did at once upon a time have other family members, and some of them have sadly passed away. In this case, we have Melanie Jennings, her husband Paul Jennings, and she currently lives here with her son Matthew, her daughter Kristen, and her nephew Billy, and also the family dog Charlie. But basically the storyline for this particular household is this family are originally from the world of Chestnut Ridge, but there was a house fire, and pretty much in that house fire, Melanie, Paul, and their daughter Kristen got caught up in it, and they passed away, and it kind of left Matthew to raise his nephew. They basically got a load of money from inheritance from this house fire, decided to move out of the world of Chestnut Ridge and settle in the neighbourhood of Foundry Cove. Now, the reason why I haven't deleted them yet is because basically I'm someone that I want to try and take photos of different family members in my save. I've done a few already, and you know, I'll show you a few of them, but I just haven't taken any photos of this particular family. And so yeah, these Sims, they're still walking about thinking that, you know, they're looking forward to the weekend and they're not going to probably be here by the weekend. But it's really sad, but it's just, it adds a little bit of depth and it adds a little bit of, you know, storytelling. But also did want to mention, I wanted there just to be a, you know, an attractive Sim in the starter neighbourhood of Willow Creek. And so if you're wondering, Matthew Jennings, he's a single guy. He's a handy guy as well. And if we actually pop over into this little neighbourhood, which I'll do in a second, you'll see that he has a truck outside his house. So just for a little bit of like touring at some neighbourhoods, I want to show you what this particular neighbourhood looks like. I'm gonna have to give you a little bit of background on this Sim in a bit. I'm not gonna tell you yet because I feel like I'm just chucking so much info at you, but basically there is this Sim who is called Photography Studio in my save file. She's not going to be here in the end, but in taking loads of different family photos, sometimes something that kind of kills the illusion is if I want to take like an old-fashioned photo of a family, but then I get, say for example, Nancy Landgrab to take the photo, then it says Nancy Landgrab takes the photo. I don't want that to be the case, you know, and so I've made a Sim called Photography Studio and she takes some different households photos, and yeah, that way it doesn't look like, you know, some random townie's actually taking it, and it looks like your Sims have ventured out and they've actually had a photo shoot done or something. But let me just show you what Foundry Cove is looking like. I also want to mention, I did not assign her any outfits. I literally just wanted a Sim from cast. I didn't change her at all. You've probably seen her, she's one of the default Sims, but this is the quite cloudy world of Foundry Cove. It is not the best lighting, I am so sorry, but basically in this world, or in this neighbourhood, sorry, I have already come in and placed down some live edit, you know, like rubbish and stuff. I've placed down a car. I actually do need to level this down a little bit, but I don't think I can. Oh no, I can do it here. There you go, there was a little bit of clipping there that was winding me up, but yeah, I've placed down some cars here. This is also some marbles, so your Sims can play marbles together. The girls that live here, Amisha and Hannah, they moved in recently, and so I was thinking where they've just moved in, this is their rubbish and this is their trash out the front. We also have a little graffiti here, or little graffiti, a little graffiti mural thing here, so your Sims, if they would like to, they can, you know, spray graffiti. And then this is Matthew Jennings' house, and yeah, his little truck out front. I wanted there to be somewhere where, you know, he could pop into his car of a morning and go to work. She's going to take ages doing this, so I'll show you some other stuff in this neighbourhood. I've also placed down a basketball hoop and then a ball, so again your Sims, they can interact with this. And then also over here I've placed down a market stall vendor, and then this is what some of the houses look like. So like I said, I've still got to do these ones, but then also actually at the back over here I have placed down a little bonfire thing. I feel like it looks quite empty, so, you know, subject to change, there might be some much extra things added here and there, but yeah, that is basically Foundry Cove. She hasn't even made a dent on that, so I'm just gonna get her to cancel that action. Okay, so now we are back on the map view. Over here we have Courtyard Lane. Now in Courtyard Lane I have completely finished this neighbourhood. So starting off with the Colemans. So we have Adrian Coleman, his wife Georgia Coleman, and then their children Megan, Marcus and Sophie. Now Georgia has a sister who lives in the world of Copperdale, and Adrian has a few different family members, but I don't think I've given them an actual home yet. I have just realised I haven't given you really like an overview. Oh, here they are. So this is Adrian's, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I think her name's Georgina, but I could be completely wrong. I've got a lot of Sims in this save file, but yeah, this is his brother and then his sister. But this is kind of like a little bit of a general overview of the Sims in my save. I mean, it probably doesn't look like a lot, but I promise you I've spent so much time on this, like an unbelievable and quite embarrassing, to be honest, amount of time creating different Sims. And you know, I must admit, before I started this save file, I was a little bit of a same face syndrome kind of person. Like I felt like all of my Sims had the same face, and I've really tried to not do that, and I'm really happy with the Sims that I've created. But yeah, it definitely is a bit of a challenge when CAS is not your final qualities. But yeah, I've got 327 alive Sims currently in this save. There is a few that have already passed away because, you know, I've taken their photographs, don't need them anymore. But we will kind of go through and see all these different members in their respected worlds. But yeah, Adrian, he's got a brother and a sister. I did also create his family, like his mum and dad, but I think I've made them... Yeah, no, do you know what, actually? I'll show you some of his family members because I've taken some photos of them. Now, this house is a very lovely suburban, and whilst we're here, tell you what, I'll show you this neighbourhood as well. So this is the Colemans family. Next door to the Colemans we have the Pancakes household. Sorry, I've got so many menus open. So it's all going a bit picked-on. Right, here we go. We have the Pancakes household next door. Then we have the Collins household, which I'm yet to introduce you to. Across the road, we have a lovely empty family home for you to move into. And then over here, we have the Richards residence. But this is, yeah, what the neighbourhood looks like. I placed down this little hopscotch, so you know, if Sims want to, they can play hopscotch in the street. I've also placed down some cars and also placed some different lights and different landscaping. And also, I don't know how well I've actually done it, so kind of open to your thoughts and opinions. So over here, I basically tried to make a little bit of a park, but I don't know how well I've done it. So initially it was just this back wall, and then I came in and using the tool mod, I just kind of, I don't know why I decided to use this instead of another one of them pieces, but I don't know, there was obviously a reason there once upon a time. But I tried to make a little bit of a park, but I'm not sure if it looks quite bad or not. It's got a swing set and it's also got some monkey bars, which, I mean, when you zoom in, it kind of goes into the willow tree there. But I don't know, I feel like I might need to extend this, or maybe I should just redo it because now we've got some new playground equipment. But there is also a picnic basket, so you can have a picnic over here, or if your Sims want you to have a little bit of a cuddle, then they can do that. Oh, he's sad. Oh yeah, because his parents passed away. That's what I was here for, sorry. Okay, so Adrian's family tree. He has his sister Celine. I thought her name was Georgina for some reason. But then also Maverick, his brother. And then his dad is David Coleman and his mum was Daisy Coleman. Now, David, I'm pretty sure, lives in the retirement home in the world of Willow Creek, which we'll get to. But yeah, they had 3 children, and Adrian is married to Georgia, who has a sister who's called Ava, who lives in Copperdale. This is a whole other side subject, but I have already come in and taken some lovely photographs of his family. So this is his mum Daisy, and then this is his mum and dad, and then, oh, actually this is a great photo because this is his mum, that's his dad, that's him himself, that's his brother, and then that is also his sister. So the way that I've done this is I've basically got so many different poses in my game, and I can basically teleport a Sim into a particular spot and get them to pose in a certain way. This is not what this video is meant to be, but I'll show you what I mean because you can kind of get an idea. Okay, so Adrian, I'll get him to pose like, I've got lots for all different things, as you can see, and I need more because believe it or not, I haven't got enough. Okay, I'll get him to do some yearbook poses. That'd be great. So the teacher's pet, I can basically teleport Sims in a certain spot and then I can pose them and then get someone like photography studio, for example, to take their picture, and then I can use them pictures on the walls to kind of tell stories. It's very long-winded, but it is 100% worth it because, yeah, you get photos like this that, you know, you can visit and then you can be like, oh, that's obviously his mum and dad and his brothers, or his brother and sister. I just love it. It's a small, tiny little detail, and yeah, it just makes it feel really rewarding. But that is the Coleman's residence. Now moving next door, we have got the pancakes. I have already come in and made both Bob and Eliza, some other family members, but this is what their makeover looks like, and they have their little baby Iggy. I'm not going to show you their family tree because you'll see, you know, Bob's parents and Eliza's family in the other worlds, but that is what they are looking like. And then next door to them we have the Collins household. We have Maura, Danny, Mallory and Dylan. Across the road in the very big fancy house we have the Richards family. So the Richards family, and I might need to pop into the family tree for this one, but we have Marie Price, James Price, and then Danielle Richards, who is their daughter. Danielle Richards is married to Vincent Richards, and together they have 3 children. We have Estelle Marie Richards. Marie is a family name, her grandma. And then we have Anthony James Richards. Again, Anthony is a family name from his granddad. And then we have little Brianna Louise Richards. Again, this household, they have family in some different worlds. Danielle has a sister in the world of Copperdale, and then Vincent has a brother in the world of Oasis Springs. If you're familiar with Gavin Richards, one of the pre-existing townies that came with The Sims 4, this is his big brother. He is a undercover, like, secret agent, you know, very secretive. He's got this whole, I'll show you quickly, I'll show you. So the dad of his household, Vincent, he has a secret basement, which, you know, he has a normal basement in his house, and I imagine that's where his teenage kids, Estelle and Anthony, that's where they hang out. But if you go through this particular door, you can go downstairs, and yeah, there is this secret basement. I love this house. I mean, I love all the houses in my save file, but it's such a cool and just really fun family home. But yeah, next door is actually a empty house, which I will pop in and show you. Now, you're going to have to forgive me because the lighting in this particular neighbourhood is quite dreadful, especially at the time of day that I have loaded into. But in my save file, although I wanted it to feel very full and complete, on the same token, I don't want it to feel, you know, that you can't move and you can't expand your Sims family and you have to stay in a starter home. And so in certain worlds, I've made it so they're not starter homes, but they are move-in ready properties that your Sim, if they move into, they have a floor plan mapped out. Some of them have built-in appliances, like maybe there used to be a fireplace here, or maybe if you wanted to, you could delete it. They have some kitchens, so, you know, a fridge, an oven, a sink, and then also some blinds there, which I don't know if I should keep them blinds. Is that realistic to keep? Maybe it looks better without it. I'm not sure, but yeah, lovely little house. You walk in, I imagine that this would be a lounge room, little dining room, kitchen, utility, and then a downstairs bathroom. And then if you pop upstairs, we have a potential home office if you want to, or maybe a bedroom, another bedroom, another bedroom, another bedroom, another bathroom, and then an ensuite bathroom. So I feel like this house has such good bones, and if you want to play in this house but you don't fancy, you know, furnishing it yourself, I have actually got a version of this on my gallery that is fully furnished. So it is completely up to you if you want to play in a version that I've decorated, or if you just want to move in and, you know, just decorate it yourself. But this house also does have a pool in the back garden, which I'm only mentioning because I am in two minds whether I should make it so it still has the pool. If you wanted to purchase this property off the market, it will cost your Sims 55,819 simoleons. It's a bit steep, but I don't know, I just feel like for a big size family home in quite a, I feel like, sought after neighbourhood in the world of Willow Creek, it's a good price. But I think if I was to delete this swimming pool, it only takes off a couple of grand off memory, because I did it the other day. Yeah, it only takes off $2,000, so I'm like, might as well keep it. But let me know what you think I should do. But yeah, like I said, the purpose of this home is I didn't want it to feel claustrophobic in my safe vault, and I just wanted you to be able to feel like if you want to, you can move about. So that was the little neighbourhood of Courtyard Lane. Now moving over to the next neighbourhood, this is Pedullia View. Now, like you can see, I've got one house left to build here, and it is for the Spencer Kim Lewis family. Originally, when you open up a brand new save file, they live on this lot over here, but I decided that I wanted the Goths to be a little bit more separate from the rest of the neighbourhood, and so they live up here now, and I've moved the Spencer Kim Lewis family down here. If you've been playing The Sims 4 for any duration of time, you might have run into this family before. I have given them a makeover, so they might look a little bit different to you. Hopefully they do, because I put a lot of time and effort into their makeover. But originally, when you enter a brand new save file, it is Vivian, Dennis, Eric, Alice and Olivia in the household. But basically, I wanted to give Vivian an ex-husband, so this is Rodney, and I also wanted to give Dennis Kim an ex-wife. This is Lydia Kim. Lydia Kim also has some family in the world of Evergreen Harbor, and I don't think anyone else has any family so far, but I will eventually get round to it. I'd like to have, you know, Rodney maybe have like a brother somewhere, and, you know, something like that. But yeah, that is the Spencer Kim Lewis family. Then over here we have the James family. So we have Charles James, Elizabeth James and Annie James. And if you're familiar with the film The Parent Trap, very much inspired by that film. And so yeah, that is who those Sims are based off. The next family in this neighbourhood is the Khan family. So this household consists of Rahid and his sister Yasmin, his wife Farah, and then his brother Jamal, and then his son Omar, and then his daughter Sophia. Now I want to say that this family, they're not going to be as big of this when my save file comes out. Pretty much I just wanted there to be some family photos, you know. I wanted Rahid to have some pictures with his sister or his brother, but then I also wanted Jamal to have some photographs with his nephew and stuff. And so I've taken them photographs already and I've popped them into each of their inventories. And basically my plan is eventually when I do create, say for example Yasmin a partner in her family home, I'm going to be able to display pictures of, you know, her niece or her nephew or her brothers and stuff. And so they're here for the moment, but they're not going to be. I have a feeling that I'm going to be moving Yasmin into the world of San Sequoia. I've got the house picked out for her, but I'm just in two minds about it. But I think she is going to live in the world of San Sequoia. And Jamal, I'm not too sure of yet. I feel like he's giving Brimleton Bay. I love his little outfit that he's wearing, but maybe also I could end up popping him in the world of San Myshuno. Who knows? But either way, the next household is the Ito family. So the Ito family consists of Akio Ito, his soon-to-be ex-wife, Kimio Ito, and then their two children, Ocean and Kai. And basically the storyline is his wife is eventually going to pass away, which is going to be sad, but it just makes for good storytelling. I'm not sure how she's going to pass away. She's a young adult, so it won't be from old age. So if you've got any suggestions, let me know. But basically, he's got a new wife, who is Lynette Holland. She has a sister in the world of Strangerville, weirdly enough. But she does have a sister, and basically the idea that I've got for this particular family is Lynette only married Akio because he's got money, and eventually when I actually do make it so there's going to be residential rentals in this world, he's going to own basically half of Fondry Cove. He's going to own all the different residential rentals in this neighbourhood, and the idea that I've got for this family is Lynette, she wants a little bit of that money, that inheritance, and so she basically married him for his wealth. I also will say that Akio, if you recognise the Ito last name, it's because he has got family in the world of, I was about to say San Myshuno then, it's not San Myshuno. He has got family in the world of Mount Komorebi, that is the correct world. But then over here, we have the Goth household. Now, I haven't even touched the Goth households. I actually recently built them this house. I don't know if you've seen that speed build yet, but yeah, I haven't given them a makeover. I'm a little bit cautious of doing so. So I'll get round to that eventually, but you can see that the version of the Goths that I currently have are the OG The Sims 4 version. Pretty much at some point in the game, the Sims team went in and they gave certain townies makeovers, but where I've been making this save file for so long, the version of the Goths that I have is the original before the updated one came along, and so yeah, I will be giving them the appropriate, skin tone, the appropriate, even just facial features, sorry. But I will be giving them a makeover. I just haven't done it yet because I'm a little bit nervous about it. But over here in the last neighbourhood in Willow Creek, we have the Sage Estates retirement home. Now currently we only have David Coleman, who is the father of Adrian Coleman, who lives over here. But eventually I'm going to be adding more Sims into this retirement property, but that is pretty much Willow Creek. Now moving over to Oasis Springs. So this is my Oasis Springs. So you can see I've got a few more community lot venues going on. Over here we have a space and science museum, which in my mind is just kind of like the perfect place if you're someone that's really into space and rockets and stars, and especially if you're a kid or something, or maybe you're going to go on a school trip. I feel like this is such a good community lot for that. But then I also have the cinema, arcade, karaoke bar and bowling alley, which I built this years ago now, and I am playing this all the time in my own personal gameplay. It's just such a fun community lot. But we next door have a bar, which eventually I want to make this into a restaurant, and then over here we have a lounge. Now I've got a few different ideas what I want to do for this particular lot, so I'm not going to put anything out there yet because I'm still in minds about what I want to do with it. But another community lot that we have in this world is over here. So this is the Oasis Country Club and Spa. Now originally when you enter a brand new save file, this karaoke bar or like this bowling alley is meant to be a gym. However, I just feel like Oasis Springs is the perfect world in the game to have a very prestigious, very luxury and wealthy feeling country club. And so instead of having a gym, I thought, well, I'll make a spa because your Sims can also visit that as if it is a gym. In this venue, I have gym equipment, I have a swimming pool, I have a hot springs, I have a sauna, massage table. You can also get your nails done in there if you fancy. It's basically like an all-round, high maintenance kind of lot. But in this neighbourhood, as we're here, Skyward Palms, as you can see, it is complete. Over here we have the Hamilton family, which this is Angela Hamilton and then her ex bit on the side, Tristan at Pembroke, and then their daughter Gabriella. Pretty much for this household that lives in this house, Angela is a businesswoman. She's now someone who owns multiple different brands and multiple different companies and small businesses, but once upon a time she was a very famous actress. Pretty much the storyline that I've got for this particular household, Tristan, he will not be here in my save. He'll be moved out with his other family because him and Angela, they were on a film set together. They were both actors at one point in time. Like I said, Angela, current day, she's a businesswoman. She's going down a bit of a different avenue now. But they were on a movie set together. They were co-stars. They had a fling and it resulted in their teenage daughter, Gabriella. Next door to the Hamilton household, I haven't actually created a household for this particular lot yet. However, over here we have quite a big family, which this family actually extends past the amount here. There is a few other Sims that are in my little like library that are saved, but it is the Caliente family. Now for this family, like I said, I'm going to try not to do this for every single family, but I'm actually going to pop in to this household just so I can show you their family tree, because if you're someone that loves The Sims 2 and The Sims 3 and you just love lore of the game, I feel like you might appreciate this. Okay, so we have just loaded in, so everyone is standing outside currently, but this is Dina Caliente and her sister Nina Caliente. Now these two, when you get The Sims 4, these are already in the game. However, in the original Sims 4 version of the Caliente sisters, these two were done so dirty. Like, they just looked nothing like how they used to look in previous games, and so I basically decided to recreate them. So this is their family tree. So we have Dina and Nina, and then we have their mum and dad, and we also have their mums, you know, mum and dad, and then also their dads, dad and dad actually, and then also stepmom, and you know, then also brother and uncle, and there is so much family tree, but it's actually not the biggest one in my save file. It's actually nowhere near the biggest one, but basically if you're familiar with OG Caliente sister-in-law, you might be familiar that this family actually stems from aliens. Basically, Pollination Technician 7, it's always such a mouthful, had a son who is basically Nina and Dina's dad, but it was with Nesta Caliente. I feel like I've just made that really confusing, but basically Nina and Dina, their granddad's an alien, and they stem from alien, and if you actually look at their name, it's got alien in the middle. But yeah, this is where the Caliente sisters live in my save file. Also, I feel like I should have probably mentioned this, but I feel like it's probably a given, but every single one of the lots that I'm showing you is available on my gallery already if you want to download it. But then also there's speed builds of it, and I actually talk more about this family's lore in the speed build of it. But yeah, this is the Caliente family's lovely little home. Now moving on to the next neighbourhood. So this is, and I always really struggle to say the name of this one, but this is basically where the Landgrab family live. Now I haven't built them a house yet, that is on my to-do list, but this is what the updated Jeffrey, Nancy and Malcolm look like in my save file. I don't know what he's wearing right now because I didn't assign that outfit, but regardless, that is what they look like. And then also their son, Johnny Zest. Now originally when you enter a brand new save file, Johnny Zest isn't biologically Nancy and Jeffrey's son, but it's pretty much implied to us in the game, but then also in little like bits here and there over the years that Johnny Zest is actually the abandoned son of Jeffrey Landgrab and Nancy Landgrab. And so just for my save file, I decided to move him back in and appropriately assign the household members. So yeah, they're actually related. So he actually has a brother now, and you know, a mum and a dad and stuff. And also they do have a little dog called Dior. Dior's a Pomeranian, but yeah, that is the Landgraf family. And then over here in Bedrock, I never know how you say that again, there's so many different names in this game which I struggled to say, but this is basically going to be my lower income neighbourhood in the world of Oasis Springs. I've got so many different ideas for this one particular neighbourhood, but I want to quickly show you just kind of what's going on with the trailer park, because Johnny Zest is actually going to live in one of the trailers. Kind of similar situation with the Willow Creek world though, because I don't want to set aside residential rentals yet in my save, just because of the corruption issues. But eventually, when you enter my save file, this back little green trailer is Johnny Zest's. This in particular, this is going to be his bedroom, and he also will eventually have a roommate. But yeah, he now lives in a trailer park, but that is what the trailer park is looking like. Currently, I haven't made any other of the trailer park members. The thing is, I get sidetracked because I want to start making them, but then I'm like, no, but they need to have cousins, or they need to have uncles or granddads and stuff. So then I start making another family, I get sidetracked. It's just, I will eventually get around to it. But yeah, this is the more lower income neighbourhood of Oasis Springs. In this neighbourhood, I'm still yet to do all of these other lots, but I know what I want for them. For this particular one, I want there to be another trailer park. I don't want to tell you what these two are going to be, but for this one over here, I want this to be a really run down and rusty bar. And actually, one of the Sims is going to be living in this trailer. That is where they're going to be working. Now moving on to the last neighbourhood in the world of Oasis Springs, we have the Parched Prospect. So in this neighbourhood, currently I'm only yet to do 2 other houses, but I've had a little bit of a change of heart recently, and I'm not going to delete it yet, but I'm thinking about redoing this one particular home, just because I've recently built this like mid-century really cool retro family home over here, which currently Carter Riley is residing in. But basically I love this mid-century style, and I really want to bring this through in this one particular neighbourhood. And so I do have like pictures saved on Pinterest to rebuild some of these other houses, but I don't know, I don't want to keep on deleting things, you know what I mean? So I'm going to build one of them first, I think, and then just see how I go. But yeah, in this neighbourhood I've got these 2 lots left over, but in this household, as he's highlighted, this is Carter Riley. Now Carter currently, it looks like he has no family, but I promise you he does. He's actually currently at his, hang on, gotta work it backwards, I think that's his cousin's house, if I'm correct in thinking, but he does have family in other worlds. I did create him, you know, some parents, and then I also created some of his parents some siblings, and then his parents' siblings also have children in other worlds. So he has got family relationships, just it doesn't look like it currently, but I am yet to create him a husband and their children. Basically the storyline that I've got for this household is one of the Sims is into kind of like architecture and design. I imagine that they're an interior designer, and the other one is into space and, you know, astrology and stuff, and they adopted two teenagers. But I'm just yet to create the other household member, or his husband as I should say. But the reason why I haven't created any kids yet is because I actually want them to adopt them, so then you can actually see that in their milestones in the game. But yeah, that is the Riley household, and that is pretty much it for the world of Oasis Springs. Now popping over to Newcrest. So this is what my Newcrest is currently looking like. I see so many people take Newcrest in so many different directions, but the direction that I've decided to take it in is this neighbourhood over here, Llama Lagoon. This is prestigious, like this is proper wealthy Sims over here. And then over here in Bridgeview, this is the more humble-ish kind of households. This is actually a very big and quite expensive home, which I'm yet to create the family for. But then in terms of the community lots, eventually I will be making over all of these different ones. Newcrest is hard because there is nothing here. Like when you enter a brand new save, this world is completely empty, but for the most part the majority of the residentials are done. The only one that I've got left to do is this little starter home. I'm aware that there is a lot over here, but I have tried to build on this lot before, but the thing is, with the different houses in these environments, they're quite big lots. I mean, this is a 50 by 40 lot, this is a 40 by 30, a 30 by 30, a 40 by 30. This is only a 30 by 20. The other lots in this neighbourhood are so big, and I've tried to build things on this little 30 by 20 before, and it doesn't suit. And I just thought, well, to be fair, it's going to be handy to have a few different empty, like bare bone lots in my save file anyway. Some people are Rags to Riches players, you know. Some people want to move to a world and they want to move onto an empty lot and just start from absolutely nothing. And so I want there to be multiple different empty lots in certain worlds. And I mean, you probably won't do a Rags to Riches here, but regardless, I'm going to leave it empty. But yeah, I still need to build a starter home in this particular neighbourhood. But in terms of the families, so over here we have the Murray family. So this family are actually related to Carter Riley, who we met in the world of Oasis Springs. I can't remember if it's his mum or his dad, but one of them are siblings of this family's, you know, household. So we have Kitty Murray and Edgar Murray. I'm aware I've already got 2 Edgars now in my save file. I've got one that lives in the world of Willow Creek, but this Edgar, he's not actually going to be in my save file. I created him for the grave, and so he's not going to be around, he's not going to be walking along the streets, and so in them cases I don't mind repeating names. I'm only mentioning this because I've said before in certain videos that I wanted like name ideas for certain Sims and things, and I didn't want to have particular names because I've already got them in my save. If the Sim has passed away, I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, we have Kitty Murray and her son Elijah Murray, and basically the storyline for this household, Kitty, she is the neighbourhood grandma, she is a lovely woman, but her son Elijah, he's a shady guy, you know, he is not a good guy, but his mum, she doesn't know that, but they live in this little bungalow over here next door to them, and I'm kind of hesitant to show you them because I do not like the way that I created them, but we have the James and... oh, they're both called James. Okay, well, I thought then their names are different, but we have the James family. So we did actually meet the James family in the world of Willow Creek, but Elizabeth James, the Sim that is very much inspired by The Parent Trap, I decided that just to kind of have some more family relations, and this was very early on in my save file, I decided to make her a brother called Robert James, and he lives here with his husband Sam James. Now, I don't like these Sims outfits, I want to make them over, but basically the idea that I've got for these two, if you've ever seen Modern Family, very much inspired by Cam and Mitch. I love Cam and Mitch in Modern Family, and so eventually these two will be adopting a daughter. Then at the back of their lot, this is where the starter home is going to be, but then next to that one we have the Condo Isles family. So this is Freya Isles, and she's living here with her boyfriend Zane Condo. Now Zane doesn't have any relatives yet, but he will eventually have relatives. I'm thinking in the world of either San Myshuno or potentially Mount Komorebi, but his girlfriend Freya, she has a sister in the world of Sulani. I basically just wanted there to be a nice young couple that, you know, have just moved into their first home. I imagine that maybe Freya's in marketing or something, and maybe Zane is in, I don't know, like computer programming or maybe like cybersecurity or something. They've just bought their first home, and yeah, it's over here in this very back corner of Newcrest. Now moving on to the more prestigious neighbourhood. So this is Llama Lagoon, and starting off with this household, because if you have watched this particular speedbuild, you've probably been introduced to this family before, but if you haven't seen it, this is Thomas Pancakes, Patricia Pancakes and Eleanor Pancakes, and this is basically Bob Pancakes' family. Now I'm just going to pop into their house so I can kind of show you a little bit more of their family tree. Okay, I loaded in and it is absolutely chucking it down, like how it is actually outside, funnily enough, but hopefully that should clear up soon. But this is the OG Pancakes family home. Now this is what it looks like on the inside. It's very formal, and basically Thomas Pancakes, who is Bob Pancake's dad, he's a film writer and he writes and produces films, and a few years ago now he met his wife Patricia Pancakes. Now they obviously weren't married when they first met, but Patricia Pancakes is eventually going to be, because I haven't said it yet, but she's going to be a retired film director, and she basically produced the film that her husband wrote, and yeah, this is their home. The reason why I decided to go down the kind of like film director route for Bob's family is because in The Sims 4 from, I believe it's Base Game, we actually have this painting which, oh, this is Bob's sister, this is Eleanor, but we have this painting in the game of Bob Pancakes eating pancakes, and I've always just wanted to kind of connect the dots of why is this here, like why is this in the game, and I also wanted to try and incorporate it into Bob's storyline, and so I just thought it'd be really fun if, yeah, his mum was a film director and made a movie about his life, and that is why there is a poster about it. But yeah, she met her husband because he was a screenplay writer, and she made films with him, and yeah, they live in this lovely home. But I wanted to show you their family tree because it kind of then shows a little bit more of like the other households. But this is Bob's family tree, so we have his mum and his dad and his sister, but then we also have Eliza Pancakes, who Eliza then has a sister who is Maura Fires, and then she has a mum who is Cecilia Hastings. These two live in the world of Windenburg. But yeah, it's not a massive family tree, this one. It's a very small one, but I like it because I'm still yet to branch out, especially for Dominic. I want him to have some siblings. Over here in this very big house, this is where the Davenport family live. Now I'm going to pop back into the map view to kind of give you an overview of the Davenports. So to give you a little bit of an introduction, and I'm not going to dive too far into these people because we will actually be meeting them in a few other worlds because their family tree do connect. But we have Benjamin Davenport, who this is his wife, who sadly she's not going to be here in my save file. She was just made for the family tree. But this is Marcella Davenport, and together they had Michael. Now, Michael then went on and married his now wife, Francesca. Francesca does have a sister in the world of Brimleton Bay, who I will show you later. But then they had 3 children together. So we have Serafina, Theodore, and Douglas. And it's just a very rich family. The mum is a supermodel or retired supermodel. The dad is this retired sportsman, but he still kind of dabbles in it a little bit. One of his sons, Theodore, he wants to be exactly like his dad. Like, he wants to be a very high up there athlete, and his dad loves that, you know, like Michael, he loves that Theodore wants to kind of like follow in his footsteps, and he just wishes the same for his other son, Douglas. Now, Douglas is a character who is not half as athletic as the rest of his household. Instead of playing real life, you know, basketball or real life snowboarding or skiing and stuff, you can often find Douglas in his bedroom playing video games because he would rather play video games and actually use a PlayStation controller to play basketball than to actually do it himself, which is really sad because if you can just about see here, they actually have a basketball court in their home, but Douglas, he doesn't use it. But yeah, that is the Davenport family. In terms of the next world, I believe, yes, it is Magnolia Promenade, and I will admit, I haven't touched this world. This is what my Magnolia Promenade looks like, and it's probably going to stay like this for a while because this isn't going to be one of the worlds that I want to focus on in the first release of my save file. I feel like a lot of people do forget about this world, and I do feel really bad, but the thing is, I've got ideas for what I want to do in this world, but I kind of want to prioritise some other things beforehand. I have, however, and it's annoying because you can't see it, I have done one lot in the world of Magnolia Promenade, but it is the police station. So if you ever get a sim to be in the detective career and you have my save file, you'll notice that I've completely revamped the police station and I completely built it from scratch. I've actually recently been playing in it myself, this police station, with, you know how I showed you Don Lothario is one of my my current household members. Basically, Don Lothario in my own personal gameplay is a police officer, and yeah, he's actually working in that police station. But annoyingly, you can't see it on the world map, but I have done the police station. However, I haven't done the hospital or the science lab. It's just one of the things, it's on the to-do list, but it's just the case of checking it off. Now, before I move on to the next world in the map overview, I don't want to forget about the vacation worlds or the destination worlds. So really quickly, I wanted to show you what both Granite Falls and then also Selva Dorada are looking like. Starting off with Granite Falls, I'm actually really pleased to say that I have almost finished this world. In total, there is 6 slots, I believe. Hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because there's actually a secret one. Now, I haven't done the secret lot in the world of Granite Falls yet. I'm not really making it top priority. I will eventually do it one day, but in terms of the main map venues, if you will. I have almost completed them. We have multiple different rentals, but with my save file, I've been working on it for a few years, but I'm very particular about it, and I wanted there to be a rental in this world for all different family sizes. So starting off with this one over here, so this is a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom, and I'm not going to bore you with the details of every single one of them, but I wanted to point out that for every single one of them, I have already come in and told you how many different Sims it sleeps, and then the different bedroom situations, and I'll quickly just hover over them so you can see. Yeah, this one sleeps 7, this one I think sleeps like 5 off memory, yep, and then this one, I haven't renamed them yet, but this one sleeps 14 Sims, which is it's a big lake house, but you know, some people might want to go away with their mates or something, and so I wanted there to be a rental for all different families of like all different household sizes. But I haven't done the national park. When you enter a brand new save file, I think off memory it's literally just trees here anyway, but I would like to make it into a community lot of some sort. But now moving on to the world of Selva Dorada. Now the world of Selva Dorada we got from the Jungle Adventure game pack, and it is a really fun world. I mean, your Sims can come here and they can go to the jungle, which you can discover all these different jungle secrets. In terms of the lots, I've still got, I'm going to say 2 left to do, these 2 down here. Now I did have something here which you can see because I didn't like it and then I scrapped it, but the original name of it was here, so I just put in some little dashes. But there was originally a museum here and then also a bar, but going for like my first release of my save file, I'm not too bothered about, you know, making it so there's going to be something on these lots. I'm going to, if my save file, it gets to the point where I want to release it and I haven't built these yet, I'm just going to place down the default ones. There's nothing to say that you have to keep them. Of course, if you wanted to, you could replace them with something else on the gallery, but yeah, I'm not really too fussed about these 2 yet, but I still need to do these 2 lots in this world. But so now moving on to the next neighbourhood, this is the world of Windenburg. Now I will say, I feel like all the different worlds that I've shown you so far, you're probably thinking, why is this taken me so long to actually fill up? I will also say, in this 6 years, I have built things and then just had a little bit of a change of heart, although within this past year alone, I've really knuckled down on this save file, and pretty much every single video that I've released in this past year, apart from 3 speed builds, all of them have been in my save file and they will be in my save file. The 3 builds that I'm not including, 2 of them were custom content builds, which this whole entire save is no CC whatsoever, and so they won't be included. But then the other one was a base game and kit only build, which it wasn't part of my save. It was kind of like a little bit of a challenge video, if you will. But yeah, the world of Windenburg, it doesn't look that full, but I'm almost halfway done. We have a few more residentials that I need to do over here. I have a 64 by 64 lot for the Villarreal family, and then a 30 by 20. By default, there is a 20 by 20, which I think is meant to be a completely empty lot. And yeah, I'm gonna keep it completely bare for my save file. But in the particular neighbourhood of the Crumbling Isle, I have the Bergergen family, so sorry if I've mispronounced that, and the Villarreal family. Both of these households are pre-existing family that shipped with the Get Together expansion pack. I've just come in and given them some makeovers, especially for this family, and then in this particular case, this original family don't have a mum in their family tree, and I'm wanting to add her in, and so yeah, this is the mum of the household. And then also in the same neighbourhood with the Bergershens family, we have the dad, the mum, and then also the teen girl and the little girl. I have a storyline that I want to kind of take into fruition for this particular family, and it more stems from the dad, because I might be wrong in thinking this, but I believe this family's name has Scandinavian origins, and when we got the when we got the businesses and hobbies expansion pack, we got the world of North Hayden, and I just thought how lovely it would be to have this family be originally from a world of Nordhaven, which is a very Scandinavian inspired world. And so in my mind, the dad of this household, he has a brother that will eventually be living in that world. I haven't created him yet, but basically the idea that I've got for this family is the dad is in the career that we got from the Eco Lifestyle expansion pack. You know, the one where you can basically modernise the world of Evergreen Harbor. That is basically what his profession is going to be. And the idea that I've got is he moved his family to the world of Windenburg because they are currently in the process of modernising the world, and in particular this neighbourhood, which is called Like Centre. Now, I haven't done any lots in this world yet, but pretty much when you enter a brand new save file, you'll notice that the environment in this particular neighbourhood is much more modernised, and yeah, in my mind it is down to the Ferguson family. But over here in the old plaza, I have a few more lots that I am still yet to do. We have a little bakery and florist though over here in the corner, and then this is the starter home in this world, and then this is just a regular Tudor family home. I just haven't made a family for them yet. We then do also have Windenburg Bridal, which Elizabeth James, who you met in the world of Willow Creek, this is her bridal boutique. And then we also have the party household, which I am yet to create a household for. But one family that I did want to quickly show you, you might have seen it when I was kind of showing you the overview of some of the different saves in my household bin, is the Burr sisters. Now, they again shipped with the world of Windenburg, and basically I feel like I need to explain what is going on with Candy right here, because these two are sisters, and when you enter a brand new save file, I love the idea of having Candy being this like proper like headline DJ, really cool older sister, and I want her to have a few different fame points. Now, the reason why she's in a robe is because before I came in and I started giving you this tour, I have been struggling for honestly months on what she's going to wear. As you can see, Yuki, her younger sister, who I'm going to very quickly show you in cast, I've already come in and given Yuki a makeover. This is what she now looks like. Originally, when you enter a brand new save file, she has blue hair, and I wanted to keep that in my save. I just wanted to make her feel a little bit more up to date. But yeah, I absolutely love her makeover. However, her sister, Candy, I'm struggling on what to do with her. She's currently got this pink and blonde hair, which when you enter a brand new save file, there's actually a little bit of drama with this, because basically she has this hair with, I think it's this one, yes, this is what her hair originally looks like. It's blonde and pink, but in the promo images for the Get Together expansion pack, this ombre was much more ombre, and at the minute it doesn't look ombre. It looks like her original hair colour was pink and her roots have just, that's what my hair looks like at the moment. But my hair's not pink, my hair is like a very dark blonde and then a lighter blonde, but that's besides the point. But basically I still wanted her to have her pink and blonde hair, but for the moment I have just popped her in this particular hairdo, which is still pink and blonde, but again a little bit more updated. I don't know her outfits, and I have struggled with them for ages. Like, I've tried so many different things and I'm just not happy with it, and so if I'm not happy with it, I'm just gonna leave her in a robe for the time being. But yeah, I wanted to explain why she is in just a random robe in my household bin. These sisters do originally live on, I believe it's this lot over here, but for my save file I've decided that I'm going to move them into the more modernised area of the world, and there's going to be a few more residentials in this neighbourhood, and yeah, that is where they're going to live. But also in this world as well, we have the Windsor neighbourhood. So over here we have the Fires family, who we've kind of already gone through, but this is the updated version of them in my save. This is Cecilia Hastings, and this is Eliza Pancake's mum. So she lives here with one of her other daughters, Maura, and Maura's got a very rich and famous husband, Dominic Fires, who is a magician. You can kind of see a little bit from their preview, but their house, it's a big one. It's built on a 64 by 64 lot, and it is basically this multi-millionaire's mansion. It has got swimming pool, it's got horses stables, it's got a basketball court, it's got so much. And yeah, it stems from Dominic, the dad of his household. He's a musician, and that's where all of their wealth comes from. In this neighbourhood as well, we do have the Munch family. So again, this is a pre-existing family that came with the Get Together expansion pack. I've just given them a little bit of a makeover, and also I've added a biological dad to this household. I'm not going to go into their storyline, but eventually Mila will have, I think she's got a wife now. Yes, it is a wife. I was about to say girlfriend, but no, in my head, I think they're actually married. But yeah, she got a divorce from her ex-husband, Dexter, and she actually met her current wife, which I haven't made yet, but she met her wife through one of her sons' book club. And yeah, it's quite an interesting storyline. But like I said, I'm not going to talk about it too much because all of these different houses, I've got storylines that go with them. And so if you actually want to find out a little bit more, you can obviously just go back and watch them then. This is meant to be a little bit of an overview, even though we're quite a long way into this overview already, and we've still got a fair few amount of worlds to go. But now moving on to the next world, which is San Myshuno. So this is what San Myshuno is looking like in my save file. Already I've come in, and originally there was a karaoke bar on this lot, but in the world of San Myshuno, we got the karaoke bar lot type and a karaoke machine with the City Living expansion pack that we got this world with. And originally there is 2 karaoke bars. There is a second one over here. I plan to eventually make this one, and I've got a few different pictures saved on Pinterest for some inspiration for this particular venue, but I felt like it was a little bit silly to have 2 karaoke bars in the same world. And so I've already come in and made this into a coffee shop, a bookshop, and I did already make it so one of the other kind of like community venues is a music store. However, I'm actually going to change it, so it's going to be a laundromat. In terms of the apartments in this world, in this current block, I have done this one over here, which I haven't created the particular household for this one, but it is a big sister that lives with her younger sister. This one I haven't even attempted yet. I'm not sure how I'm going to map it out because it is a very big apartment for just these 2 Sims, so I might eventually end up moving them. However, this apartment I have already come in and built, but I did it off camera, like I didn't record it because it is a starter apartment in my save. Now with every single world in my save file, I want there to be at least one starting off point, whether it be a starter home, a starter apartment. In the world of San Myshuno, currently I have 2 starter apartments. I might end up making a 3rd one, but yeah, I wanted there to be a pre-planned out floor plan for you in the Culpeper apartment building. So yeah, this is the floor plan. You've got some built-in appliances, so you've got a washing machine, a tumble dryer, you've got a shower bath combo, little bathroom area basically. I was thinking that this could be a bedroom. This is obviously the kitchen, which this apartment, it's got a few different, you know, like scratches in the walls and a few cobwebs. It is a needs TLC apartment, which I tried to kind of decorate the furnishings for that type of lot type. But yeah, we've got like, I would personally put a lounge room over here, maybe like a nice little dining room, and then potentially an extra bedroom, or if you fancy, kind of like an extra skill building room. I purposely made this apartment to be the starter apartment because whenever I get my Sims to live in the San Myshuno world myself, I personally get them to live in this apartment because it is one of the ones in the world that have a balcony. And I just think for your own gameplay experience, it might just be a little bit nicer if, yeah, one of your starting off points in the world does actually have a balcony. But yeah, that is the starter apartment in the Culpeper building. In the building across the road from that, I've actually come in and already done these 2 apartments. So we have the Beda family, and then over here we have the Lynx family. Now the Beda family are a pre-existing household that came with the City Living expansion pack. I've already come in and I've given them a makeover. When you enter a brand new save file, Jesminda, the wife of this household, she's meant to be pregnant, but for some reason and somewhere along the lines in my save file, she's no longer pregnant, but I'm going to be making it so eventually she does have her lovely little baby bump back. And yeah, there is a little nursery in this apartment, but then across the hall from them we have the Lynx family. Now the Lynx family, this is Catherine Lynx, and she is the biological sister of a pre-existing family in the world of Brimleton Bay who is called Catriona Lynx, I believe. If you're familiar with the cat lady in the world, this is basically her younger sister. She lives in the world of Myshuno. Basically the idea that I've got for this particular sim, if I show you her outfits as I kind of tell you a little bit about her, I wanted to have a sim that basically graduated university, and in my mind, Catherine, she got this degree, you know, she went and got a degree in maybe writing, maybe communications or something, but she basically got her degree and then she struggled to get a job. Now, the idea that I had for her is that when she was in university, she started making some jewellery on the side. And so since she's graduated, her little jewellery business has taken off, and now she owns an Etsy or a Plopsy shop out of her apartment. And yeah, she makes loads of different custom jewellery pieces. I forgot to mention it when I was in cast, but just popped out of it and remembered. But I do want to say that she does also have a cat, and I wanted to point it out because her sister, the cat lady in Brimleton Bay, this is one of her cat's babies. So, you know, Catriona has a sister who lives in the world of Myshuno, but I also wanted her cats to have family members, and so yeah, the cat actually does have a mum and I think it's a brother in the world of Brimleton Bay. But that is that little neighbourhood. Over here in the Arts Quarter, we have one apartment which I've done, but I just haven't moved a sim into yet, and then we have the Benali household. So this is a pre-existing sim that came with the City Living expansion pack, and again, I'm not going to go too much into it, but I've come in and I've given this sim a makeover, which I'm very happy with his makeover, because the thing is, he looks, I feel like, so different to what you originally see when you enter a brand new save file. I feel like I need to actually just change the voices, because the voices keep on doing me a little bit, because they keep on chatting as I'm trying to show you them. But yeah, basically, with Townie makeovers, apart from a few sims here and there, for the most part, I don't change their facial features. I just try and update them in terms of their looks. But Salim, he's a very good looking man, and initially when you enter a brand new save file, he's got like this massive beard, which I can't remember which one exactly it is. It's not this one, but it's something like that. And yeah, I remember when I gave him a makeover, I removed it, and look at this man's facial structure. He's a very good looking sim in my opinion. But yeah, this is his outfits, which, like I said, I'm just very happy with his makeover. But yeah, he is a little bit of a lazy writer in the Arts Quarter. In the same apartment building, I've still got this one big apartment left to do, and then also in this particular neighbourhood, I have got this other apartment to do. So I've only got 2 apartments left. However, over here, you can see I have moved a sim in, and this is a sim that I kind of made. Basically, this is Maria Flex, and she is Marcus Flex, a pre-existing townie in the world of Windenburg. This is his sister. Now, again, I'm not going to go too far into it because I've got videos with storylines for every single one of these builds, but pretty much Marcus's sister, Maria, she is a very high up lawyer in the city, and if you've ever got a problem, if you've ever got some sort of crisis and you need a lawyer for something, then she is your girl, you know. She is a very fashionable sim. I don't know, I'll show you her outfits very quickly because I'm obsessed with her, just her overall style. I just absolutely love it. But this is, I think, her party wear. Oh no, that is her hot weather, but this is what she is looking like. So I have already come in and made Marcus's mum and dad, which when I pop out of cast, I'll quickly show you them. But I also made it so, yeah, he has a sister, and she's just so stylish. I just love her. But yeah, she wears this big oversized blazer, and she's just this big time lawyer in the city. Quickly show you his mum and dad, which I created them a while ago. Oh, there they are. So this is Marcus Flex and Maria Flex. This is their biological parents. They're currently sitting in this bin because, again, these ones are some sims that are made for the grave. But yeah, I just thought I would show you them. But originally, when you enter a brand new save file, the Jang family live here. However, I've decided to move them out and give them a bit of a slightly different storyline, and they now live in the world of Delta Valley. I've also given them some extra household members, and also just given them a complete makeover, which I will show you again. But in this neighbourhood as well, we have the art centre, which I'm still yet to tackle, and I would admit, doing some of these lower down buildings in the city are some of the hardest builds to do in the game, I feel like, because you've got all these different high-rise buildings, but then this one's on the floor. Do you know what I mean? So it's a little bit hard sometimes. But over here in this very industrial penthouse, we have the Monroe and Goldin family. Now for this one, I'm going to have to load into their family tree because these two, they have multiple relatives in each world. So this is Cyrus Monroe, and he lives here with his long-term girlfriend, Daphne Goldin. Now, if I pop into the family tree, I'll show you what I mean in terms of their relatives, because Cyrus himself, he has also some family actually in the world of Delta Valley, and Daphne has some family in the world of Henford-on-Bagley. Okay, so this is their apartment. This is an industrial penthouse which I built a good few years ago now, but basically the storyline is Cyrus, he is a quite high up, quite influential fashion photographer, and he lives here with his long-term girlfriend Daphne. Now if I pop into Cyrus's family tree from the get-go, you will see a familiar face, and that familiar face is Thorne Bailey, who is his half brother. So basically Cyrus and Thorne Bailey share the same mum, who is called Camille Bailey Monroe. Now we'll get into it when we move over to Delta Valley, but basically I'm gonna make it so Thorne Bailey's mum lives with them in their mansion in basically Beverly Hills. But yeah, at one point in time she fell in love with Clifton Monroe, who is Cyrus's dad, and they had Cyrus. But she also did have Thorne Bailey, who Thorne Bailey also has a father who currently is in Delta Valley with the rest of this household, but we'll get onto it shortly. But yeah, then we also have Octavia, and Octavia's got a sister, and there's a bit of a family tree. But if we pop back to Cyrus, oh, you can't do it from here. Okay. Well, if we pop over to Cyrus's girlfriend, because for some reason it doesn't show it in the family tree, you can see that then we have a little bit more family relations, and here is where we really get into a proper family tree. Now I know you're looking at this and you're thinking this is not a proper family tree, and it's because I haven't clicked on the particular sim yet. But basically Daphne Goldin, she is originally from the world of Henford-on-Bagley, but she fell in love with her boyfriend Cyrus, who I can't click on, but he's down here, we just saw him. And basically she loves painting. She's an artist, but she also has a love for gardening and, you know, like nature and stuff. So basically they moved this penthouse in the city, and in doing so he gave her a very lovely greenhouse so she can grow all of her different fruit and vegetables. Now she's from originally the world of Henford-on-Bagley, like I said, and she has a sister who is called Bethany Gooseman, who is married to another man called Bradley John Gooseman. Now this is where the family tree really gets into the nitty gritty, because you can see that Daphne herself, she also has a mum and a dad, but her brother-in-law is Bradley John Gooseman, who is connected to another family who are from the world of Chestnut Springs. And if I click on this particular sim, this is where you see that the big family tree starts to really come into play. Now I'm not gonna go too into it because we'll discover some more about this family when we do eventually venture over to either the world of Chestnut Springs or the world of Henford-on-Bagley. But basically this is Bradley John Gooseman, and he fell in love with Bethany Gooseman, who is Daphne's sister. They live in a little farm in the British countryside, and together they've got Daisy Gooseman and Isabella Gooseman, and yeah, that is their children. But she is the auntie to these two kids. But there is a big family tree there. Like I said though, I'm gonna wait until we move over into the other worlds to really get into the nitty gritty, because I've got a storyline of how all of these households kind of connect. So over in the fashion district, I've only got 2 lots left in this particular neighbourhood. Like I said, for the karaoke bar, I've got multiple different pictures saved on Pinterest for inspiration for this one. But in terms of the apartments, I only have this one left to do, which I think off memory, when you enter a brand new save file, this one is meant to be a completely blank one for you to move into. I might keep it to be that, but I basically originally had the Karaoke Legends, which is a pre-existing family that came up with the City Living expansion pack. They originally lived in this particular apartment, but since then I've come in and I've made it to be for a sim that I have not yet created, but it's basically going to be this character who is a full-time streamer, and they have a very pastel and very like groovy, kind of like girly apartment. And yeah, I absolutely love this apartment, but I'm yet to make the sim to live over here. However, in this particular lot, I have built a penthouse. Again, I'm yet to make the sim that is going to move in here. The sim for this one, I have actually got a few different pictures of, it sounds really silly, but different models, because basically the sim that lives in this particular penthouse apartment is going to be like the ultimate fitness guru, a very much big time fitness influencer, and yeah, they live in this very spacious dream penthouse apartment. But then in the last building we have the Pizzazz household. Now this is Penny Pizzazz in my save file, and I would be lying if I said that her makeover was easy. The thing is, I don't even know why she was so hard for me to do. I love the way that she's eventually turned out, but yeah, admittedly over the years she's changed her makeover so many different times. But at one point I had her wearing this kind of like mesh see-through leopard print top with leather jeans, really cool and trendy look, and I'm going to probably use that outfit for a different sim in the city, but it just didn't suit how I envisioned her. And I mean, you can kind of see from her apartment overview, it's very light and airy in there, and so I kind of gave her clothes the same kind of feeling. Over here, I haven't made the Sims live in here yet, but it's going to be a single bachelor sim, and then just at the end of the hall, we have another starting apartment. So kind of similar to the last starter apartment which I showed you, which I've just now realised I haven't shown you the starter houses in the world, but I think so far I've only done 2, which I skipped over, but there is one in Oasis Springs and then one in the world of Windenburg. I haven't shown you them, but there are speed builds of them. These ones, I just did the apartments off camera because it really took me no time at all. I just did the basic floor plan and then put in kind of like the bare bones and the bare basics for if you was to move into an apartment in real life. So, you know, shower bath combo, toilet, sink. I did place down a mirror. I don't know if that's realistic or not, but when I moved into my house now, the bathroom still had mirrors in it, and so I just feel like that is something that would maybe come with a property that you move into. But yeah, we also have a kitchen, and then also for this apartment there is 1 bedroom and potentially a home office or a walk-in wardrobe, or maybe you want to have 2 bedrooms. It is completely up to you. But yeah, that is the starter apartment in the world of, or in the neighbourhood I should say, of the fashion district. Now the remaining parts of the city, we have the uptown district, which I'm not gonna lie, I haven't touched really any of these lots. Before in the past I've come in and I've made over the Feng apartment, but I just didn't love it. I have given them a makeover though, and so you can kind of see what they now look like, but yeah, I haven't done any of these apartments. I've also given the Lobo household a makeover, Diego Lobo. This is now what he looks like in my save file. Again, it might look like I've changed his face, but I really didn't. I literally just gave him a updated haircut and then also changed some of his clothing. But I still need to do the Central Park in this world. It's a 64 by 64 lot. It's definitely going to be a challenge, but yeah, that is still on the to-do list. But now moving over to the next world, which is Forgotten Hollow. So this is the world of Forgotten Hollow, and this world is almost complete. The last thing that I've got left to do, which I'm not going to do near to the end of the release of, you know, like my save file, when I eventually plan on releasing the first version of it, and it is because this lot over here, which initially is meant to be a starter home, I'm going to make it into a graveyard, but in particular for all different occult sims in the game. I'm actually not sure if I will do a speed build of it or if I'm just going to leave it be, but basically once I've created multiple different occults and, you know, I've created certain sims for the grave and I need somewhere to put their tombstone, if they do fall under the occult category, yeah, they're going to be residing on this particular lot. But over here we have a starter home, and then over here we have a vampire family home, and then the Vitor siblings, and then also Vlad. Now if you was to take a look at Vlad, you might notice that he has completely changed, and that is because this version of Vlad, which will be my save file, isn't the one that we all know and some people love. And that is because when you go to the world of Forgotten Hollow, in particular in this neighbourhood, there is a statue here of Vlad, and in my mind it just makes no sense that he's got this statue here if he's meant to be this really old vampire and, you know, he's still walking around. I know vampires don't age, but basically the idea that I've got for Vlad is he's actually just an ancestor of the man that will be here, and so I'm going to take the original Vlad and make it so it's like his great grandfather. I also haven't created his nephew, but in my save file he will have a nephew living with him, and his nephew is actually going out with a spellcaster, which I'll show you a little bit of them when we move on to the spellcaster world. But yeah, this is the new Vlad in my save. Over here as well we have the Tor siblings, so we have Lilith and Caleb, and this lovely gentleman over here, this is Amdis Bloodthorn, and this is basically Lilith's ex-boyfriend, ex-husband. Basically, not going to go into it, but she fell in love with this man and she really pictured her life to be with this particular gentleman, but he sadly passed away, and it kind of gave her a little bit of a villain arc. Enter a brand new save file. Both of these siblings by default are quite lovely sims to interact with, which is nice for the most part, but I don't know, I kind of wanted to play into stereotypical kind of like evil vampires, and so the reason why I gave Lilith an ex-partner is because in my mind she thought she was going to live her life with this guy. You know, she thought she was going to have a vampire family and stuff. He sadly passed away, and since then she just hasn't been able to get over him, and so from that she has basically decided to take all of her time, energy and effort and put it into being the best vampire around. Caleb, on the other hand, he is completely opposite to his sister because he is one of the most flirtiest sims that your sim might come across. You can see in his likes and dislikes, I've made it very easy, so he just likes everyone, pretty much anything with a pulse or a bloodstream, right up his alley. But yeah, that is the world of Forgotten Hollow. And then moving over to the next world, which is one of my favourite worlds in the game, and it is the world of Brimleton Bay. So for this world, I've only got 4 lots left to do. One of them is going to be a lovely little starter home over here in the Caliver Cove neighbourhood, and then the remaining 3 are going to be at different community lots in the Whiskerman's Wolf neighbourhood. For Tell's End, which originally when you enter a brand new save file, this is meant to be a residential, and I feel like a lot of people actually forget that there is a lot down here, but my plan is to make it into a dog training park, and I do kind of like the idea of making similar to Willow Creek. Now how I said I wanted there to be a festival for each season for Magnolia Blossom Park. I like the idea for the world of Brimleton Bay because in the autumn time it is just such a beautiful world. I like the idea to have a version of the dog training park in the autumnal season, but we'll see how I actually get on with that one. Down here, I plan to have a vet clinic, which need a vet clinic in the world of Brimleton Bay. And then over here, this ragdoll refurb, my plan is to make it into a multi-use community lot. But yeah, so far in this world, we've got the Saucy Lobster, which is a very fine dining experience. It's basically somewhere where your sims, if they want, they can go for a little bit of dinner. But then over here we have the Hamptons Country Club and Spa. Now I absolutely love this lot. It's one of my favourite community lots that I've ever done, and the reason for it is because it is a multi-use and multi-functioning lot. From the preview, it doesn't look like it's going to be that big, but if I just really quickly pop into build and buy mode, I want to give you a little bit of an overview to kind of show you all the different venues that this country club can run as. So this is the lot, and it's night time in my save file, which is really bad for the light, which that's not even the best. But yeah, this is the country club and spa, and basically in the world of Brimleton Bay, in my mind, it is a very rich and prestigious area, and I really wanted that to come across in the building. So this is the country club. Outside we have a little pretend tennis court. Now if you're someone that does play with mods, you can 100% use the tennis mod in the game and make it so this would be functional. My whole save file is no mods included, so I haven't done that, but kind of wanted to give you the option if you did want to go down that route. Out the back we also have a basketball court, and then we also have a swimming pool. Popping on into the inside, we have a yoga studio upstairs, which this yoga studio has just such beautiful views of the water behind it. I mean, imagine if you're taking a yoga class and you've got the instructor there and you're just consistently looking at them, but like that is your view. I just think it's so beautiful. But yeah, we've got a yoga class up here, which in gameplay a yoga instructor will come here and, you know, they will teach Sims different class. We also have a nail salon over here. I just felt like for the world of Brimleton Bay, it was just almost essential for their very high maintenance girls in this world, or boys, or just non-binary powers. If they want to get their nails done, then yeah, they can come in here and they can do that. We also have a bathroom, like a literal room for baths where your Sims can get like mud baths and stuff, and we also have some massage tables. But then downstairs as well, I made it so if you would like to, you could also use it to be a wedding venue lot. So your Sims, they could have their wedding day here, like their special day. This would be what their view would be looking like in the screenshots. We also have some sort of like little reception room, and then the rest of the downstairs portion is more like a country club kind of vibe. So I can just imagine some like older gentlemen sitting on this sofa, maybe drinking some scotch or something, or if not, they could pop into this room, which is the bar room, and yeah, they could order themselves a drink. If you actually pop downstairs though, there is even more, because on the downstairs level we have a gym. So you can see we've got multiple different pieces of training equipment. We've got some treadmills and stuff. Over here we've got the changing rooms, and if you pop downstairs one more time, we then have the onsen bathhouse and hot springs. So this is where the hot springs is over here. It's very peaceful in here. It's just very, I just feel like it's very luxury, to be honest with you. But we also do have some saunas and then also some showers, and then we also do have a indoor swimming pool. You know, the world of Brimleton Bay is one of them worlds in the game that we experience so many different weather patterns. In case it is a little bit drizzly outside and your Sims don't want to go into the exterior swimming pool, then yeah, they have got an interior option. So kind of moving away from the community lots, I want to mention that over here on this little island, Dead Grass Isle, initially when you enter a brand new save file, there was a museum here, but for my save, I just found that I never got my Sims to actually visit the museum, and so I came up with a storyline for a family which I have not yet created, but it's basically going to be for a set of parents that they're bookworms, the parents that are going to be living in this house, and basically they're fantasy writers, and they're very rich. They basically live on their own private island, but this is their home, and I made it so they live in an old windmill. So for this house, I'm actually still so proud of this, because this is no custom content. This is all in-game items, but basically once upon a time I came into the game and using multiple different pieces of just furniture, so like random lamps, for example, and random, what is this? It's kind of like an employee award, but some sort of like thing that you put on the wall. I basically used the tool mod and I rotated a bunch of them, and I made a little windmill. There is a speed build of this on my channel if you are curious, but yeah, it is for a couple that live here. They are fantasy book writers. This is one of their offices upstairs. I feel like this is just such a perfect setting if you're someone that is maybe not the most extroverted person, no, not the most extroverted character, but that is one of the offices, and they live here together with their two daughters. But yeah, this is their home. Like I said, it's originally meant to be a museum, and there is actually, if I pop on over here, there is actually a graveyard on this island, but it's meant to be for pets, and I actually get really sad when I visit here. I don't know about you, but it makes me a little bit, I don't know, just sad whenever I come here and I see all the different pets like walking around, because there is stray dogs on this island and stray cats, but then also sometimes you might encounter some ghosts. But that's why I feel like, especially for fantasy book writers, they might kind of like that idea. But yeah, they live here instead of the museum. Now, in terms of the residentials, like I said, I've only got one left to do, and it is over here. It is the starter home in Cavalier Cove. However, over in Sable Square, I have completely finished this little section of the world, and I haven't created any of the family members to actually move in yet. I've started creating this particular family, which, if you're curious, it is going to be this household. It's actually going to be this dad. This is his parents that they were made for the grave, but he'll be living there with his wife, his teen daughter, and also I think it's a little girl, or it could potentially be a infant. But yeah, I started making these Sims, so some of the houses, they might look empty, but you know, I'm getting there in terms of I just need to create the foundations first before I can actually move them in. There is the Heckin household somewhere in this bin, which I'm going to still have in the world of Brimleton Bay, but I'm going to change up their storyline a little bit for my save file, if I can even find them. Here they are. This is Brent and Brant. Yeah, Brent and Brant Heckin and their lovely little dog, Rosie. But yeah, they will be residing in this neighbourhood somewhere. And then in terms of move-in ready houses, where, like I said, the world of Brimleton Bay, it's like my favourite world in the game. I just love it so much. I really wanted there to be a move-in ready family home. So alongside the starter home that I will eventually get around to building, I've already made a house for you to move into and, yeah, start your Sims family. I'm just going to pop photography studio into the lot. Let me just enter the cheat. Here we go. And let me show you what the house is looking like. So this is the move-in ready family home in the world of Brimleton Bay. Now, pretty much, I created this home maybe about a year or two ago now, and I wanted there to be like in my mind, a stereotypical American dream home, and it was this one. I loved it so much, and so when it came around to actually really knuckling down on my save file and trying to figure out if I still wanted the first house that I built here to be here, I thought, no, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to place this house down instead, but I'm going to delete all the furniture and make it so, yeah, if your Sims need a brand new family home in the world of Brimleton Bay, this is where they can move into. Oh, here's Johnny Zest. We didn't really get to see him when we was doing Oasis Springs, but he's currently walking his mum's dog, Dior. But yeah, this is Johnny Zest in my save file. I've given him a complete makeover. I went down a completely different route with him, but I just love his makeover. But yeah, so in terms of the actual house, if we pop inside, kind of similar thing to some of the other move-in properties in my save file. I've made it so you've got the built-in appliances, you've got kitchen, you've got, say for example, a bathroom, some, you know, washing machine, tumble dryer, but then the rest of it is kind of bare bones and you can kind of do whatever you want with it. Just for kind of like a little bit of storytelling, I have placed down a few different boxes in some of the rooms, but all you got to do is just delete them if you don't fancy. But yeah, you've got like a lovely hallway. I have got a furnished version of this build on my gallery in case you want your Sims to live here but you can't be bothered to furnish it. I have got a fully furnished version, but yeah, you can make this into a home office, lovely little greenhouse. This I would personally make into the living room, and then a dining room, lovely garage, and then if we pop upstairs, we have a big bathroom here, and then a Jack and Jill bathroom to two of the bedrooms. We then also have the master bedroom with a lovely walk-in wardrobe and then a remaining bedroom. But yeah, that is the move-in ready house in the world of Brimleton Bay. I just think it's so lovely, and something which I love about this house, which is going to sound so silly, but I use the default roof trim, which sounds so strange, but I feel like for this house, for the colour palette that I went for, yeah, it really works. And then also, actually, something I wanted to point out, we have the move-in truck. So when your Sims are actually moving in to this maybe forever home, that is where all the furniture pieces are. But whilst we're here, I'll also show you some of the other houses in this neighbourhood. So over here, this is again going to be another residential rental, but I just haven't moved the families in because I just get a bit nervous about it. But if you pop down the road over here, we then have some more family homes. So there's one here, and then also one here. I think eventually I would like to revisit this neighbourhood, and in particular rebuild this particular home. It's not top priority, and I'm not going to, you know, make it a thing in my first version of my save file. I don't think so anyway. But as I know, I have already rebuilt a different home on this lot, which current being this house is going to stay here, but eventually as my save file progresses, I think I kind of like the idea of maybe redoing this one, but yeah, I'm not too sure. But this is Sable Square in the world, and there is a lot of Sims that are quite sad. This is Adrian, we met him earlier. Oh, she knows him. Oh yeah, because she took his photos. Of course she knows him. But anyway, let's get back to the map view. So in terms of this neighbourhood over here, which, like I said a few times now, this is where the starter home is going to be. I have already moved in a few different households into these respected houses. Over here we have the Delgato family, which this is a pre-existing family that came with the Cats and Dogs expansion pack. The only difference is I decided to give them a teenage son. His name is Conrad. He's quite a relaxed character. I mean, he's got the jokestar aspiration and he's also a little bit cringe, but I mean, in terms of his likes and dislikes and some of his hobbies and stuff, he's quite a chill guy. But yeah, he lives over here with his parents and his brother and his sister. Over here in the back corner we have the Lynx household, which kind of had a little bit of an introduction to the Lynx household in Myshuno, but Catherine Lynx, who is the sim who got a degree and could never actually get a job once she finally finished university and is now a full-time Etsy seller. This is her big sister and also her mum. Again, I have made the mum for the grave. She is not going to be in my save file. I purely made her for the storytelling purposes. But yes, this is Katerina Lynx, and then this is also her cats. And Josie is the one that is the mother to Katerina's sister's cat. So that is Josie. And then Josie also has this cat, which that's a bit of a mouthful. You can try and say that yourself, but that is, yeah, the brother of the cat of Katerina. Hopefully that's easy to follow. But the last household in this world, I need to pop into the family tree to show you, but this is the Huntington household. Now I just realised I didn't actually show you the Roomies household in the world of Oasis Springs, which I'll quickly find for you and just quickly give you a brief overview of their makeovers. This is Gavin Richards, this is Zoe Patel, and then this is Michael, can't remember his last name, but like I said, Gavin Richards has a older brother in the world of Willow Creek who is a secret detective. I'm yet to create the other two household members, like family trees and stuff, but I did, for the meantime, move Jay Huntington III out of the Roomies household, where when you enter a brand new save file, this is originally where he lives, because I have always just seen Jay Huntington III as such a rich boy, right? I've always seen him as up his own behind, and he is just, he's got to have some sort of legacy behind him. Like, I just imagine that he comes from a family of wealth, and so the Huntington family was created. So this is Jay Huntington III, as you can see, and he's currently in the household in Brimleton Bay purely because, going back to, I want to take some family photos of different families, and especially for the Huntington family that are going to be living in this house, I really want to take like proper fancy kind of photographs for his family, and yeah, have them in their home. And so for the meantime, he is residing with his family. But if I pop into the family tree, I'll kind of give you a little bit more of a introduction. So this is the Huntington residence. Now, like I said, I need to give you an introduction to all the different family members in the family tree, but basically I built this very prestigious, very fancy family mansion in the world of Brimleton Bay that I just wanted to kind of scream, I've got money, basically. So you can kind of see from the get-go, we've got a basketball court here that in my mind could also double up to be a tennis court. We end up having like a garage, and it's got like a gym in there, a bits and bobs room. We've got a lovely pool and a pool house. We've got horse training grounds, a greenhouse. Like, there is just so much to this one particular property. It is also fenced off, and you can also see that on the drive there is a limousine. Now, the reason for the limousine is because Jay Huntington, who we all know, and some people might love him, but he basically is the son of a very famous politician. So this is his dad, Jameson Huntington II, and if I pop over here, you can see that he is politician level 10, and I basically imagine him to be almost like the, I want to say mayor, but I actually feel like he's more than that. He's basically the guy that runs everything around the world of Brimleton Bay. I've made it so he's, I think, a 4-level celebrity. If I pop down here, yeah, he's a 4-level celebrity, and yeah, he lives in this very big and and fancy house. Now, in terms of his family tree, I'm actually going to go in from J Huntington himself. So this is the Huntington family tree, but it has branches that stem out to the world of Newcrest. But starting off with kind of like the founder of the Huntington legacy, this is Jameson Huntington. Now, he married his wife, Eleanor Huntington, who she is going to be alive in my save file. She will be residing in this big family mansion with her son and her grandchildren. Jameson himself, he will be for the grave. He's not going to be here. But together, they had Jameson Huntington II. Now, like I said, he's a politician. And Jameson basically got married to Gabriella Huntington, who is the sister of Francesca Davenport, who we met in the world of Newcrest. She is a retired supermodel. She is the one who is married to Michael Davenport. You can see over here, and you know, there is a family tree that goes back a little bit more, but she's a sister of a supermodel. For Gabriella, I intend to make her a very posh lady, to be honest with you, but I imagine that she is very high up in the horse training skill, and so that is the reason why they have some horse training grounds. I haven't created the horses yet, but purely because, I mean, you can see already from the amount of household members, I currently have 8 Sims in this household, which is the max limit for a household. But once I move Jay Huntington out of the family home and I get rid of Grandad, I will eventually add in some horses. But together, Gabriella and Jameson had 4 children. So we have Jay Huntington III. Now, a little bit of lore. I did a little bit of digging into Jay Huntington, and basically his original name is Jameson, and that is the reason why his dad is called Jameson, and also his grandfather. I really love the idea of having family names in my save file. I feel like that just makes The Sims feel a little bit more detailed in a way, and it's also something that happens in real life. I'm not sure if your family does it, but for like my family alone, we've got a few names in our family, and I'm even named after like my nan's nanny. So like family names are just like a thing in my household, and so yeah, I like the idea of having it for certain families in my save. But yeah, so Jay is just going to go by Jay Huntington, but in my mind, his original name is Jameson. But also he has a sister who is called Isabella. I've now kind of realised I think I might have another Sim called Isabella, but I might be confusing it with maybe a Gabriella. Can't remember. There's a lot of names. Like I said, I've got like 300 plus Sims in my save file, and I've created way more than that, but I'm going to try and cross check it and yeah, make sure I've got no name repeats. But there is also a little boy in this household who is called Nathaniel Huntington, and then also a little baby girl who is called Juliet Huntington. So yeah, that is the Huntington family, a very prestigious, very fancy, very rich household that basically run the world of Brimleton Bay. So moving on to the next world, this is the world of Del Sol Valley, or in Sims terms, this is basically meant to be like Los Angeles in the game. For the Mirage Park neighborhood, I've completely finished this little section. We have a starter home over here, and then we also have a residents living over here. This is the Jang household, which I'll show you them in a second. But then we also have 3 different homes on one lot. Originally, when you enter a brand new save file, Vanessa Jong, I believe is how you pronounce her name, lives in this particular home over here. But I've actually already given her a makeover, which I might change her makeover because I feel like I made her a little bit too beige. I tried to go down like a Y2K kind of cool and trendy route, but I don't know, I feel like I might have done it a little bit too much. But either way, she's going to live in one of these residential rentals, but she actually lives in the garage of her auntie's house, this very back corner one. But over here we have the Jang household. Now, like I said, the Jang household, they're originally from the world of San Myshuno, but for my save file, I had built an apartment in their original location of where they originally lived, and so I decided to move them out and move them into the world of Del Sol Valley. Now, originally when you enter a brand new save file, the Jang household consists of the mum, the dad, and then also their little girl. But for my save file, I decided to move them into this particular house, and I'm not going to go too far into it, but basically the Jang household, when you originally get them with the City Living expansion pack, they're a very colourful family. Like, they're just, all of their clothes, like the dad wears a bright yellow two-piece suit, which I've now since updated him, and I'll actually pop into Cass and show you a little bit of their makeovers, because I still wanted them to feel like the Jang household, but I wanted to kind of update them to be a little bit more, I don't know, fresher in a way. I think this is his hot weather outfit, so yeah, that is his hot weather, but this is what his new outfit is looking like. Originally, when you enter a brand new save file, he's wearing a yellow jumper or a yellow jacket, apologies. I think it's this one. No, it's not that one, I lied. This one. He originally wears this, and I can't remember the trousers that he wears, but I don't know, I just feel like with this new outfit, it's the same thing, you know, but it's just a little bit more up to date. But yeah, this is the dad of the household. I'm going to quickly flick through some of his different outfits. I also made him, so he's got a brother, which I've got a backstory for his brother, which I haven't actually created the other member, but basically this is Obi Jang, and if you actually take a little pop into his like details, you can see that he can unfortunately not produce children. Like he can't have any biological children of his own, and I want to kind of give the backstory that he has an ex-wife, so he's going to be a divorcee, and basically his ex-wife wanted to have kids, and so they ended up getting a divorce, and she would then have another family in a different world. But yeah, this is basically the fun uncle of the household, which this is, yeah, Obi, like I said. And then we have, where is she? We have the mum of the household. So I can't remember exactly what she originally looks like, but I tried to keep in with her original outfits. I'll try and find a picture of what she looks like on the screen. I'm not going to do it for every single household because I'll be here for ages, and this video is already very long, as you can tell. We've been here for a couple of hours now already, but I just want to show you what, yeah, they originally look like. And then their little daughter Billy. She's a cute kid. I used this hairstyle that we got from the Adventure Awaits expansion pack. She actually had a different hairstyle, but as we get different packs, or as we was getting different packs, I had updated them as we got some new ones. And so yeah, I recently gave her this hairstyle, but this is what she looks like. But one sim that I want to show you, because I haven't yet created her an apartment, but it is Billy's auntie. So this is Samira, and I want her to be a really plant loving sim, so I've already set aside, like the majority of the sims in my save file, I've already given them likes and dislikes and stuff like that. I'm yet to still come in and give them skills and stuff and lifestyles, but it is on the plan. I'm going to be doing that, but she is going to be a plant loving sim, and I want her to live in the world of San Myshuno, in particular the Culpeper apartments in the Spice District. But yeah, that is the auntie. And then I don't think I've missed anyone else. Oh no, I have. I've missed the mum of the household, which she was made for the grave. So something that I wanted to point out, if ever for some reason you was to revive any of the ghosts that I've made for my save file, I've already come in and made it so their outfits are all the same, just because I only really need, if we're being frank, I only need you from like the shoulders upwards. I don't really need him from the bottom level. And so to do every single outfit to a ghost, it's very long-winded. But I have come in and I've removed all their like funky eyeball accessories and stuff like that. And some of the households also have, if they were married, they would have an engagement ring. Also, I have not even spoken about it, but a tiny little detail that I've made sure to include in every single married household in my save file, just for your gameplay ease, eventually when my save file comes out. If a sim is married, every single sim that does have a partner has a wedding ring on, whether it be an engagement ring, whether it be a wedding band. I've already come in and made it so every single household that is married has basically some sort of indication from the get-go that, you know, they're married, they've got a partner. And the same for, you know, the dad of this household, he also wears a wedding band. But yeah, I've completely forgot to mention that. It's a small thing, but I don't know, I feel like in real life a lot of the times, if you are married, not all the time, not everyone wears a wedding ring, but for the most part a lot of people do wear wedding rings. And if you're someone that maybe you've got a single sim and you want them to find a partner, and you're maybe going out to the local bar and stuff, and you want to kind of have a mooch, to kind of save you having to do all the different formal introductions, you can kind of see if someone's, you know, maybe already got someone someone that they're devoted to. But yeah, that is the neighbourhood of Mirage Park in my save file. Over here in Starlight Boulevard, I have so far done the downtown motel. Now it's currently set as a bar, but I'm going to eventually make this into a getaway system or like a custom venue in my save. It's a really run down, crusty motel in the world of Del Sol Valley, and yeah, your Sims, if they want to, they can rent it out for a night or two. I haven't done any of the other community lots in this world. I've got an idea set in stone for this particular lot, and then also for this particular lot. And actually saying that, also for this one, I'm just not too sure what I want to do with the gym, but you will hopefully see these, or in particular this one, very shortly. But moving over to the next neighbourhood, so this is the Pinnacles. So in the Pinnacles, I've only done one house, which I feel a little bit embarrassed to say, but like I said, a save file is a really big project, and I will eventually get there. We are getting there, baby steps. But in the Pinnacles, we have the Bailey Moon family. Now, I've already kind of given you a little bit of an introduction to this particular household, but if I quickly just show you, we have Thorn Bailey over here, which I've completely changed him in terms of how he looks for my save file. Again, I haven't changed his facial features. I'll actually pop into Cass because you might be curious what he looks like, because again, I think he's quite a good looking sim. You know, I've got quite a good looking bunch in my save file for your Sims of all different genders as well, by the way. But I've got quite a few Sims that, you know, are potential partners, potential like legacy starters for your families in your game. Okay, I accidentally loaded into the lot. I was meant to click create a sim, but this is their house. This is the Bailey Moon residence. If you're not familiar, Thorn Bailey is basically a very high up musician, and so in his family home in the basement, if we pop down here, you can see that he's got a record recording studio. I love this build. This was so fun to do. But yeah, that is his little section. He's also got like a spa, and he's got like a home gym and stuff. And his wife Octavia, she is a author, I believe, and yeah, she has a little home office section. But if I actually now pop into Cass, which is what I was originally meant to do, I will show you what he looks like. Okay, so we're now in Cass. So this is Thorn Bailey. He's going to be in his swimwear because he's in the swimming pool currently, but this is my updated version of him. Now, pretty much he is this really prestigious, high-level celebrity in the world of Del Sol Valley, and I just basically wanted him to kind of look the part of that. I gave him a ton of tattoos, as you can see. Some of them are some like the pre-made ones in the game, but then also with the new, I say new, it's not that new, but with the tattoo paint mode thing, you can kind of make your own different tattoos now. And I basically come in and, I mean, I'm going to cover up that tattoo, but I've used a few of them, and yeah, given him some more custom tattoos. I'm also pretty sure off memory he wears glasses when you enter a brand new save file, which he wears glasses and there's like a little bit of a man bun. I feel like his hairstyle that I went for is quite similar to his original one, and hopefully you can kind of still see that this is Thorn Bailey. Like I said, facially didn't change him, I just changed some parts about him. But yeah, this is Thorn, and then this is his wife Octavia. I shouldn't really be in Cass because we've still got a good few worlds that I need to show you, but just as a kind of like a little quick overview for her, this is what she wears. But we do also have some other household members. So I created a sister for Octavia, and I'm not too sure where she's gonna be, but I just wanted Octavia to have a sibling in a world. I have already come in and given her a few different likes and dislikes, and then also made her a aspiration, some traits and stuff. She has got outfits, but I'm just not too sure where she's going to be. She might just end up being a sim in the household bin that is technically homeless, but I just wanted her to have a family member, and I'm not too sure if you remember, but Thorn does actually have a half-brother. He just lives in the world of San Myshuno, but this is Thorn's mother. This is Camille Bailey Monroe. She's got a double-barreled last name because she once was married to Clifton Monroe, and then also was once married to Travis Bailey. So she's a woman that has got, you know, a few different wedding bands bapping about in a bedroom drawer, if you want to put it that way. Bapping about, that's not even a word, bopping about in her bedroom drawer. But yeah, imagine that she's had a few husbands, and yeah, she lives with the Bailey Moon family. So coming out of the Bailey Moon residence, I haven't done any of the other houses in this world, like I said, but we have Judith Ward. Now, I'm not going to show you her cast because I've already shown you the Jang household and the Bailey Moon household, which I love my Sims. Like, I really do love my Sims. I've put so much time and effort into every single one of them, and truly, create a sim can take me just as long as some of my actual videos. Like, I will spend hours in create a sim on just one single character or like one single sim, and so I'm just very proud of a lot of them. But I'm not going to show you what Judith Ward looks like. You can kind of get an idea of, you know, her updated look. But yeah, this is Judith Ward. She's going to live over here, and basically the idea that I've got for her is she's going to have multiple different ex-husbands, kind of similar to her neighbour. But I also love the idea that she also once was married to one or maybe both of the Bailey Moon older gentlemen. I just love that for a little bit of tea. Do you know what I mean? But now moving on to the next world, we've got the world of Strangerville. So in the world of Strangerville, we have the secret lab over here, which that blacked out bit, it just says secret. It's funny because they blacked it out to try and be all like mysterious and secretive, but underneath it literally says secret lab, so it's not that, not like top secret. But yeah, I don't know if I'm going to actually ever change the secret lab. There is gameplay attached to the world of Strangerville, and so I don't want to alter anything too much in terms of in case it changes the gameplay of it. And so for now, that is going to be as it is. Over up here in Shady Acres, I've only got one house left to do, and it is for the Roswell family. Now, the Roswell family consists of 2 family members. Previously, in the past, I have actually updated their house, and I built them basically a farm well before we even got the Cottage Living expansion pack. But I don't know, it was just so old and rusty and dusty. I just completely removed it. But yeah, they are the last house that I've got left to do in this neighbourhood. But over here we have the Rosewood family. This is a very high profile, basically military family in my game. I haven't done it yet, but basically over here you can see Henry Ford Rosewood III, and he has eventually, not yet because I haven't done it yet, but he will eventually have multiple different generations before him, kind of like Jay Huntington at the third, but he will have multiple different relatives, and basically his family are very high profile in the world of Strangerville. This family, they've got a whole like storyline. I really had an in-depth storyline for this one particular household, which if you want to, you know, go ahead and watch that speed build, I'll leave you to it. I just don't want to go too much into it. But yeah, this is Henry Ford, his sister. No, this is not his sister. His wife. It's because his wife has got a bunch of sisters, so that was a little bit confusing. Apologies for that, but no, this is his wife, not his sister. This is Charlotte Ann Rosewood, and together they have 2 children. We have Henry Ford Rosewood the 4th and Amelia Maeve Rosewood. Now, I'm not going to go too far into this particular family because we will actually be seeing them in the family tree of a different world. But yeah, they are a high profile military family that live in the world of Shady Acres. Across the road we have the Eclectic Arts household. So we have Mark, Alice and Leslie. Each of them kind of have their own little storylines going on. For Alice, she kind of dreams to be this big country musician, and so I kind of tried to dress her to be the part of that. Also gave her the musical genius aspiration, and then also for her likes and dislikes, I've given her quite a few. So yeah, and then the same for all of the other Sims as well. Like I said, I spend a lot of time in my save file. This save is like my baby. But yeah, I've only got the one lot left to do up here, and then in terms of the downtown area in Strangerville Plaza, I've still got to do the starter home, which is going to be a trailer. Need to do the bar, and then also these 2 lots, and then also this lot over here. When the Strangerville game pack first came out, I remember I built a diner on this lot, which I was really happy with the name of it because it's called the Penelope Diner, which basically, this is George. He's basically a pilot that had a plane crash, and he lives in like a plane crash over here, but the plane was called the Penelope. And I remember when the Strangerville game pack first came out, I just thought for a little bit more of easier gameplay in the world of Strangerville, to kind of give you a bit of an initiative to visit here, it'll be really fun and really cool to have a diner. So I built a diner back in the day called the Penelope's Diner, and basically since then I've decided that I've wanted to redo it, but currently George is still here. I'm just yet to move him out. I want to move him potentially up here into this household, or maybe I might move him into this household down here, not too sure, but eventually this big 50 by 40 lot will be a diner. But now moving on into the next world, we have the world of Sulani. So for Sulani, in this particular neighbourhood, I only have one more lot left to do. Currently there is some pre-existing townies living here. I am yet to give them a makeover, and also to give them some children, because I have an idea for this particular household to have a son that goes to university, and in particular the University of Brightchester. I was initially meant to give them a makeover and actually make their son a few weeks back when I built some university dorms, but I started doing some university students and then I just got a bit sidetracked, and family trees and all the connections, it all just goes a little bit iffy sometimes when you're trying to connect everyone. But they will eventually have a son who will be residing in Brightchester. My plan for them is to move him down here into this neighbourhood, and I'm not sure if I want to move him into this lot over here with these pre-existing townies and make it so there is multiple different houses on this lot, kind of similar to what I did with these little bungalows down here, or if I want to move them over here. But either way, this is going to be a community lot in my save, and this whole little section, this whole neighbourhood, is pretty much like a honeymoon destination. Over here we have a 1 bedroom, 2 bathroom, very luxurious, very like Maldives feeling rental villa. This is the whole idea that I went for this particular neighbourhood, is I wanted it to feel like your Sims are going to the Maldives. So yeah, we have a 1 bedroom, 2 bathroom villa over there. This one is 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, and then this big one is a 5 bedroom, 5 bathroom one, but it ends up being able to sleep something like, I think 10 Sims in total, because a few of the rooms have multiple different beds in, and pretty much I made this years ago and I wanted it to kind of function to be some sort of hotel. I feel like now, since we've got the Adventure Awaits expansion pack and I've got that in my game, I'm actually going to change it to be a custom venue, and your Sims can actually use it to be some sort of resort. But also in this neighbourhood we have the Llama restaurant, which is a restaurant, nightclub, and then also a bar. It's a really beautiful proposal location if that's the kind of things that your Sims are visiting Sulani for. But in this neighbourhood over here, like I said, I don't know if I want to have 2 residential rentals here, or maybe 1 house here and 1 house here, but on this little corner plot, the Tangle Flat, I want to make this into the starter home in my save file. With starter homes, technically you could make it so one of them would be on the waterfront lot, but I don't know, I just feel like for realistic purposes it might be a little bit cooler if your Sims move to the world of Sulani, and instead of from the get-go having a waterfront property as their first home, it might just be a nice little thing to have, a nice little bungalow in this corner. But I also do want to have another restaurant, I think, in this world, so I might end up making this beach into a restaurant. But in terms of the last neighbourhood, over here we have an off-the-grid mermaid living here. So I built this actually with one of my own personal Sims in mind, which again, I'm not going to go too far into it because I have realised I've actually taken up a lot of your time today, and I'm so sorry for it. But this save file, like I said, it has been years in the making and I'm not done. This is purely just showing you everything that I've got so far and kind of giving you a little bit more of an idea. Like I said, when I am going to be releasing this save file, not everything is going to be complete, but I want to kind of show you where I'm at so you can kind of get a little bit more of a better idea. But yeah, this particular household I based off my current household of the time, which was a mermaid that lived off the grid. I was doing kind of like a little bit of rags to riches, and eventually she got enough money to, be able to actually have a house. And so I built a house inspired by my current household. I loved it so much I included it in my save. But I've got 2 different lots left up here. I've got 2 different things I want to do for this particular lot. I've got one property in mind for a residential, but then also I've got a really good community lot idea. But it's annoying because in the world of Sulani, where I want it to be a little bit of like a honeymoon destination like thing to travel to in my save, alongside with some other Sims that are going to live in the rentals, which I'll show you in just a second, I still want there to be things to do. And I don't know, I would just love it if this neighbourhood in particular had like one extra lot. But yeah, I don't know if I'm going to make this into the community lot that I'm thinking, or if I'm going to make it into a residential. But in terms of the families, a load of them are actually in the household bin, but I'll quickly show you this family. So this is Marina Reef, and she is the biological mother of Dwayne Teller. I'm not going to go too far into it because I've got, again, with this speed build that I did, I went in depth with this storyline. But basically, when you enter a brand new save file, it's originally these 4 Sims down here, and Dwayne is actually a random Sim that has no family relatives. He just randomly lives with this set of parents and this little girl. And basically, I have the storyline of he actually now lives with his auntie and his uncle. This is his mum, Marina Reef, but she's only currently in the household just for the moment. When my save file comes out, she will not be here, and she's actually going to be a little bit of a show up at random points in the day kind of Sim. You can kind of see from her traits already what kind of Sim she is. She is non-committal in both relationship senses, but then also she just doesn't really provide for her son, and she basically dropped her son off at her sister's house. Over here in the Sulani village bungalows, I've got one family in the bin. I think I need to create the other families that are going to live in the residential rentals, but I do actually have a pre-existing family which I've already given a makeover to, if I can find them, because it's always such a task. There is so many different Sims in here. Bear with. Found them. Okay, so this is the family that are going to live in one of the residential rentals. They are a pre-existing family, and you know when we was in Newcrest and I said that one of the girls has a sister in the world of Sulani, this is her sister. So yeah, kind of connecting the dots there. But now moving on into the next world, which is the world of Glimmerbrook. Now for this world I've only got one lot left to do, and it is this one down here. With the world of Glimmerbrook, there is actually a secret lot, which if you pop through this little portal in the corner, you can actually go to the magic realm. Unfortunately it doesn't show on the map, but I have already redone the magic realm. I made it into basically this massive magical school, but yeah, I can't show you that. But again, I've got a speed build on it in case you are curious. But these are some of the different households that live in the world of Glimmerbrook. So starting off with this family, so this is the Charm family, and if you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen this family already. Basically a few weeks ago I gave them a makeover, and it's actually really embarrassing to say, but it took me legitimately 6 hours to give this one household a makeover. Like I said, a save file is a very long project. Love it dearly, but it can take some time, and especially for me, like Cass is not my final quality. But yeah, this is the Charm household, and I'm going to quickly show you a few of their outfits because I'm very proud of it. Like I said, it did take me a very long time, but the household consists of the mum. We then also have her 2 children, so we have Daryl and Gemma. And then Daryl also lives with his fiancée, who is Amelia. I've just remembered, entering Cass, that with spellcasters, they sometimes like to do that, which is quite annoying. But I wanted to quickly just skim through just a few of their outfits, just because I love this top, by the way. It's from Life and Death. But I'm really proud of the way that they turned out, and especially Gemma. I have my work cut out with this Sim. If you're familiar with what she originally looks like, she looks completely different. Again, I haven't changed her facially, I've just changed and altered her makeup, given her a new hairstyle, and altered some of her outfits. Gemma does actually have a boyfriend who I haven't yet created, but remember my new updated version of Vlad? She's going out with Vlad's nephew, who lives in the world of Forgotten Hollow. But yeah, they are a few of her outfits. And then her mum is probably the favourite because I really had my work cut out with her. But basically I took a lot of inspiration from her eye colour. If you can see, she's got some beautiful purple eyes, and so I made it. So pretty much for every single outfit, she just wears something purple. Apart from here, because I didn't really have that many options, but she's got purple now. She's got a purple headband, but yeah, for the most part, she is in mostly that colour. Also Daryl as well. I'm here, I might as well quickly show you. Just skim through. Like I said, a lot of time. And I'm really proud of my save files. I don't know if you can tell, it's just very... It's such a rewarding thing. Like, genuinely, creating a save file, if you are thinking of doing one yourself, I highly recommend it, because I now, whenever I do get around to playing the game myself, which I must admit, current day, it's not that frequent, because I spend the majority of my time, if I'm not building houses for my save file, creating the Sims for my save file. But if ever I do ever actually sit down and play it myself, I actually just play in a version of my own save and kind of see how everyone interacts with each other, you know, the kind of relationships people have and how they would interact with new Sims, and it's really rewarding doing a save file. But yeah, that is the Charm family. And then over here we have the Akabal Acolytes. Now, I want to say, for Grace's outfit, I love her outfit. However, I'm going to be changing it because I went a little bit too beige for her. Originally, she wears a yellow dress, and I wanted to go down a little bit more of like a trendy kind of like beigey kind of route for her. But now looking back on it, I need to change her. But this was on the same day that I did the Charm family, and so I was already getting a little bit tired with the amount of time that I spent in Cass. But in terms of Tomax, I haven't changed him at all. I think the only one thing that I've done to him so far is his hair, but I will eventually do that. But yeah, like I said, I've only got one lot left in this world. But now moving on to the next world, which is Brightchester. So for the university based world, I have done a few different lots so far. Over here you can see I recently actually built these Brightchester dorms. So we have one which is a little bit more filled up in terms of there's going to be Sims living in them. They're going to have their own personal like decorations and stuff. But then there is also a version of it which is the exact same structurally and mostly furniture wise, but there's no personal decorations. One of them is going to have a bunch of university students live in, and then one of them is going to be empty for your Sims to move in. Over here I have a sorority house which I built many years ago. Like this speed build was probably like late 2020, I think, off memory. But I would really like to rebuild the sorority house because I feel like as the years have gone on, I've just got better at building, and yeah, I would just love to rebuild it. But it's not top priority right now. I just would love to do that one day. Now over here we have an empty lot currently, which is meant to be the University of Brightchester Commons, and I currently don't have anything there. But the thing is, I've actually done a build which I originally built for this particular lot over here. It was last year. I built some autumnal Edinburgh inspired apartments which very much fit the area of Brightchester, and I basically am thinking about maybe coming in and renovating that and making it into the University Commons. But I don't know if you would mind that, or if you just want me to come in and completely rebuild something from scratch. Now admittedly I did just go to this lot and place it down and start showing you, but I feel like this video is long enough as it is. So yeah, if you're familiar with my autumnal Edinburgh apartments, let me know if you think I should maybe just change it so I one day come in and renovate them and make it into University Commons, or if I should just completely rebuild it from scratch. In terms of the rest of the world of Brightchester, so over here in Gibbs Hill, I'm still yet to build on this lovely little 20 by 15. My initial plan, and it's still going to be something that I'm going to put into fruition, but over here I already have some university housing. This is not going to be for any particular university. The way that I've tried to approach the different neighbourhoods in this particular world, I want the Foxbury Institute just to be for Foxbury students. With the University of Brightchester, this neighbourhood is again just for students of University of Brightchester. But then in kind of like the middle ground between the universities, I want there to be just some kind of like generic university housing. Maybe it's for students that couldn't get into, you know, the university dorms, or maybe they're not part of the, say for example, the sorority house or the frat house, which I haven't even showed you. But yeah, I wanted there to be some generic kind of university housing. This one is already fully furnished, and my plan is to come in and make a second version of it, have it be identical but be a little bit more like move-in ready, if you know what I mean. But it's not going to be for a starter budget. I shouldn't have probably said move and ready, but basically no personal decorations. But I still need to build on the 50 by 40 and then also the 20 by 15. And then in the neighbourhood of Foxbury, I've still got to do the University House in Towers, which I'll do one and then I'll just do a very similar thing to what I did with the Brightchester dorms and, make one so it's fully decorated with personal knickknacks for households or a household to live there. And then the other one I'll make empty for your Sims to move into. But I still want to do them too. And then also Larry's Lagoon, which is Foxbury Commons. But like I said, there is also a frat house in my save file. So in the modernised version of the world, so in Foxbury Institute, I have made it so there is a Foxbury frat house for, some frat university students to live in. I love the idea of having a frat house and then also a sorority, and they often have parties and stuff. But that is in the world of Brightchester. Also, we do have a restaurant over here currently, which it's a bistro and bar, so your Sims can come here for a bite to eat or something. Maybe they pass all their exams and they want you to go out and celebrate, it's end of term, or if your Sims want to, they could literally just come here and have a drink. But that is the world of Brightchester. Now I'm moving on to the next world, which before I click on it, admittedly, this is not going to be one of the completed worlds in my save file, and this doesn't really have that much in it, but this is the world of Evergreen Harbor. Now, for all of the other worlds, you might have noticed I do have some map overlays, but for the world of Evergreen Harbor, the map overlay that I've currently got for this world, it is broken, and I've actually removed it out of my game. But you can see this world, some of the units aren't even shown. Like, this world is very, very glitchy. But this world, I've got my work cut out here. I know what I want to build, but it's just a case of actually sitting down and doing it. Over here, I want there to be a nightclub of some sort, kind of like an abandoned warehouse. I've actually already got some pictures of it saved onto my Pinterest. And then I still need to do these other 3 lots. This one over here, this is a club, a bar, a restaurant and a karaoke bar. So it's like 4 different lots in one. Annoyingly though, the default picture of it is the back of the lot. I promise you, it's actually really pretty in gameplay, but for some reason the map view is the behind of it. But in this world it is it's not complete at all. I'm not going to be focusing on this world for my save file. But over here I have currently placed down some British terraced houses, which is something that I built a little while back. I probably won't have this in my save file, but I've just placed it there momentarily because this world is looking quite bare. But I have got an apartment done, which is something which I did fairly recently as well. It's a very cool retro apartment for a young couple. I just haven't moved anyone in yet. And then in terms of the other lots, you can see I've still got all these empty ones. For these apartments over here, my plan is to make this one into a starter apartment. I'll do it off camera like some of my other starter apartments, but I've already got the floor plan mapped out, and it was actually the floor plan for the apartment of my current household, because they initially lived in this apartment with Don Lothario. It's a whole thing, but I loved the apartment floor plan. I thought it was really easy for gameplay, and so I'll just redo that off camera, but still got that apartment. And then over here, this is one of the only renovated households in my save in Evergreen Harbor, and it is the Harris family. So this family have quite a bit of lore, and there is also multiple different family connections. So starting off, we have Francine Spencer, who her sister lives in the world of Willow Creek, and she's called currently Lydia Kim, but she will eventually be Lydia Spencer. And this is her sister, but this is her son, Cletus Harris, and they live here with his wife, Faye Harris, who she has a brother in the world of Chestnut Ridge, not Springs. I think I said Springs earlier, but Chestnut Ridge. And then also their 2 kids. We have Jeb and then also Gideon is how I think you say that. I might have pronounced that incorrectly, but they've got this whole storyline of, I'm not going to go into it. I've got like a very in-depth storyline on this particular household, which you can listen to if you want to watch the speed build for that one. But Evergreen Harbor, I'm quite embarrassed there's not that much here, but I have plans for it. It's just not a top priority world. I have certain worlds that I really want to be complete before my first version of my save file, and although I would love it dearly if Evergreen Harbor was in that category, where I haven't really got that much in this world already, I'm just not prioritizing it. But I do really love this world, and like I said, I've actually been playing here myself like recently, and I love the fact that it's a little bit more run down. It's a bit smelly. There's rubbish on the floor, which, I mean, you can already tell that I try to incorporate into like the world of Willow Creek in some areas. But either way, also for some of the residents, over here we have the Greenberg family. I've already given them a makeover, I just haven't built them a brand new house yet. Although we do have the Sterling Rico family, I think is how you say that, but I haven't even touched these two yet. That is on the to-do list. But yeah, that is the world of Evergreen Harbor. And now moving on to the next world, which is a lot more complete, and it is the world of Mount Komorebi. So for this world, currently I have this empty 30 by 20 lot, which eventually will be another vacation rental. In this one area alone, I have a rental that's got 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, but I'm pretty sure off memory I made it so one of the bedrooms has 2 single beds in. Over here we have the onsen bathhouse, and then over here we have a very big luxurious mountain lodge. Now I'm going to quickly pop into the game and show you just this lot alone, just because it's just so, I just absolutely love it. Okay, so I've just loaded in, and I just really quickly wanted to show you this lot because I really wanted to have the idea for if you wanted to come on maybe like a ski vacation with your Sims or something, and maybe your Sims have got loads of mates, you know, you want to go on like a big ski holiday or something. I wanted there to be a very luxury and very prestigious mountain lodge in this world. And so yeah, that is pretty much exactly what this build is. I'm actually not going to go inside because there's so many different like little bits and pieces to it, but yeah, there is a speed build of it. I love this build so much. It looks so beautiful, and the thing is as well, it is always snowy here. Like, it will always look like this in your game, even if it is a heat wave outside. It's a really cool lot, and yeah, I love it. So back onto the map view, in this middle section of Mount Komorebi, I kind of now taken the approach that I want this neighbourhood to feel a little bit more central and a little bit more like a metropolitan area. Over here we have some Mount Komorebi apartments. There is, I think, 6 apartments in total. I just haven't, moved anyone in there yet. And again, this is going to be a residential rental in my save, but currently I've just set it to be a residential to save any sort of corruption issues, if you will. But then over here we have some Tokyo apartments. Eventually I'm actually going to make a household to move in here. I'm thinking maybe uncle and niece, or maybe just like people that just so happen to be in the same household. But I basically want this to be a small business that runs as a bar, but I still want there to be the apartments on top, just to kind of help populate the world. And so yeah, that is my plans for that particular lot. When the Snowy Escape expansion pack first came out, I initially built some more like Japanese, like regular family homes in this neighbourhood, as you can see, but currently I've still got them in my save. However, I would really like to redo this one particular home, not because I don't like it. I actually think it's such a lovely little home for your Sims to move into, but where I've kind of now taken the approach of I want this to be a little bit more metropolitan, pretty much ever since we got the For Rent expansion pack, I really like the idea of having this to be a cat cafe. The idea that I've got currently is I want it to be Park Cafe on one side, and then on the opposite side have a little laundromat. That's kind of like my idea, but with that I think I might be able to make it into a small business residential, so there might be someone also living there, or I might just build it to be like a bog standard like community lot that no one lives in. But yeah, that is my idea for there. And then I've still got to build on this 30 by 20 lot. Now over here in the bottom neighbourhood, I have almost completed it. Now currently I have a little bit of a placeholder, which is my Japanese restaurant, which I built donkeys years ago. Now the reason why this is still placed down here is because if I don't get round to it, even though, and I hold my hands up, it is not my best build in terms of the way that it looks structurally, this is actually still just a really good lot to visit. In my own gameplay, sometimes I still get my Sims to come here. Like I said, it's not my best in terms of structurally, and I feel like over the years I've just got so much better at building, but I currently have a placeholder for a Japanese restaurant. I hopefully one day will get around to rebuilding it, because in this neighbourhood it is just so beautiful. I mean, you can kind of see from my map overview that I've got, or my map overlay, sorry, this is kind of like what is in the world. It is just painted onto the map view, and it's beautiful, and it's just such a perfect setting for a restaurant. But yeah, I've still got to do this little home over here, which will be a starter home. But then in terms of these 3 houses, earlier this year I built a Japanese pottery studio, and that is going to be a small business that if your Sims are visiting the world of Mount Komorebi, they can come here and yeah, learn to make pottery. I'm yet to move in a household there, but then their neighbours are the Nishidaki family. Now, these are a pre-existing household in the world. I'm yet to come in and give them a makeover, but it's basically a grandma, a granddad, and then also their granddaughter. But they live in this lovely little Japanese farm. But then across the road, we have quite a big farm, and this is for the Ito family. So the Ito family, if you remember, maybe like an hour or 2 ago, but we first got introduced with them in the world of Willow Creek, and it's because the dad of this household, he has a brother that lives in the world of Willow Creek. He's the one his wife is going to pass away soon, and he's got like this new wife who kind of is with him with the money, that kind of situation. But yeah, this is the original Ito family. I haven't come in and I haven't given them a makeover yet, but this is where they're going to be living. But now moving on to the next world, which is one of my favourite worlds again in the world, and it is Henford-on-Bagley. So in the world of Henford-on-Bagley, I've only got 2 lots left to do. We have got this 50 by 40 lot over here, which currently is a national park. I'm going to be switching that up for my save file. But then the last lot that I've got is over here, and it is a 20 by 15 lot. Now, there is a 50 by 40 over here in the old New Henford neighbourhood. But going back to, for my save file, eventually when it does come out, I don't want it to feel like you can't move around. And I mean, of course, if you wanted to, you could eventually download a build and place it down here and make it so you maybe find another build in the gallery that you'd like to replace it with. But I don't know, I just feel like with the world of Henford-on-Bagley, it's a really ideal world to have an empty lot if you're someone that likes to do rags to riches or something. I have actually got a starter home already in this world, and it's located up here, and it is Cordelia's Secret Cottage. I've got 2 versions of this particular build on my gallery. There is this version which I built to be for a single sim, which all of my starters in my save file so far have been built for a single sim budget, but there is also a fully furnished version. So if you don't want it to be a starter home and you want it to be fully furnished, that is an option for you. But yeah, I'm going to be making this national park into it's actually going to be a residential with a small business, but very excited to do this one. And it's actually going to have a pre-existing family live there, who are the Watson family. So this is the family that will eventually be living in this lot over here. I haven't given them a makeover yet, and I don't know if you would have seen it, but recently I built on their original lot, which is a 64 by 64 lot. I haven't created the Sims to move in here yet. I want to maybe have some ties potentially to the Davenport family that we met in the world of Newcrest, but I'm still in 2 minds about it. But yeah, that is where the Watson family are going to be living. And then down here in the Finchwick village, I have this one empty lot, which I eventually want to build a little small business on. I really like the idea of it being a little bakery, because in this little area alone, we have the Gnome's Arm pub and cafe, which this is the back of a lot. It's not that ugly, I promise you. It's just for some reason on the map view it shows the back of it. But yeah, this is the pub and the cafe, which you can switch out in gameplay and use depending on what kind of function you wanna play with. With the Cottage Living expansion pack, there is actually some townies in the world, which I'll show you in a second because I have given them a makeover, but they're meant to be the owners of the pub. And I basically built this pub and cafe to be a multi-purpose lot, and my idea was in gameplay you can switch it out depending on what type of venue you want to play with. Ever since we've got the small business lot type, I like the idea of making it into a small business, and then the pub owners can actually literally own the venue. So there's actually a little bit of law there, and it's not just they pretend to own it. But I'm just not sure if it interferes with any gameplay, so I need to kind of test that out. But the Sims that are going to be living in this particular lot over here are actually the pub owners, and they are Sarah and Simon Scott, which they're at the very bottom of my household bin. But yeah, these are the Sims. They are pre-existing townies, and I've already come in and given them a makeover. I haven't given them any family relatives as of yet, but basically they are originally from the world of Myshuno in my mind, and so I want them to have some family connections in that world. But their neighbours, I haven't created these neighbours, but these neighbours, these ones over here, these are the Murray family. So you know when we was in Oasis Springs and I introduced you to Carter Riley, the guy that lives in the really cool mid-century home, and I said I think he's at his cousin's house. This, I believe, is his cousin Isaac Murray. So this is his wife Margot, and then their daughter Evie. Now the storyline that I've got for this household is they moved from the big town. Initially it was meant to be the city, but I might change it depending on where some of their other relatives end up. Like I said, we've got Carter who lives in the world of Oasis Springs, but I might make it so maybe they've got some more family ties. But basically they moved to the world of Henford-on-Bagley because Isaac is in the detective career and he landed a new job as the local policeman, if you will. His wife Margot, she has got some family relatives, but I can't remember off the top of my head who her relatives are right now. But yeah, she does have, I think, a sister in one of the other worlds, but they also live here with their daughter Evie. So for the rest of the residents of Henford-on-Bagley, over here we have the Moody and Macmillan family. These are pre-existing townies that came with the Sims 4 Cottage Living expansion pack. I haven't given them a makeover yet, and they have got some relatives that I haven't made yet, but they're going to basically have some relatives in another world. But yeah, a lovely little married couple in the world of Henford-on-Bagley. I can't remember which one it was, but one of them has a son or a daughter, and basically they had a previous marriage, and then they realised that they actually like guys, and so they got divorced and then they married the other one. Can't remember which way round it was because I built their house ages ago, but yeah, that was a storyline for them. And then their neighbours are the Gooseman family. Now I have already kind of introduced you to this family because if you remember, we actually met Bethany in the family tree back in the world of San Myshuno. Bethany has a sister who is called Daphne Goldin. She lives in San Myshuno with her boyfriend Cyrus Monroe, who is Thorn Bailey's half-brother. But this is Bethany Gooseman, and yeah, she lives here with her husband and her 2 children, and then also her mum and her dad. Her dad I did just make for the family tree. He's not going to be alive in my save file. However, her mum will be, and this is Clementine Goldin. Now this family is one of my favourite families in my save file, more so for the reason of how I imagine the dad met his now wife. So pretty much Bradley John Gooseman, which he's got a big family tree, and I'll show you that in a second, but Bradley John Gooseman met his wife Bethany Gooseman. She used to be Bethany Goldin, and that is what her sister's maiden name is in the world of San Myshuno. But basically I had the idea that Bradley John was visiting the world of Henford-on-Bagley because he was visiting his uncle, who, if you pop over to the next door neighbourhood of Bramblewood, you can see over here we have another family, once again called the Gooseman, and this is where Bradley John's uncle lives. Now Bradley John's uncle is John Gooseman over here, and he lives here with his wife Patsy Gooseman, and together they have James Don Gooseman, which I don't know if you recognise this name. It's going to tie into the family tree in a second, but they had, Bradley Don Gooseman. He married Grace, and together they had 2 lovely children, Mabel and Hazel. These 2 Sims are the siblings of James, so his brother is called Elliot, and then his sister is called Lydia. Lydia is not going to be here in my save file. She is going to have died from a really tragic accident, which sounds really sad, but it just kind of makes for good storytelling sometimes. But his brother Elliot is one of the single Sims, again, in my save file. I feel like so far I've only shown you single male Sims, but there will be Sims of all sorts, don't worry, in my save file. But yeah, I have already made a single bachelor in the world of Henford-on-Bagley, and it is Elliot. But yeah, basically this family are relatives to this family, and the idea that I had was Bradley John, who, again, this is Bradley John over here, and I know that I've used John here, and his uncle is called John. I did it on purpose, and when we visit the OG Gooseman family, which we'll get to shortly, but when you visit this family tree with me, you're going to see there's a lot of different family names for the Gooseman household who live in the world of Chestnut Ridge. But basically the idea that I had is Bradley John was visiting his uncle John Gooseman over here in the world of Henford-on-Bagley, and he went to like the local post office, is the idea that I've got in my mind, and he met this lovely lady who he's now since married and started a family with. I will be revisiting this family tree because they do connect in the world of Chestnut Ridge, but now moving over to the world of Tartosa. So in the world of Tartosa, I've almost finished it. I've got 2 but potentially 3 lots left to do. I've got this 30 by 30 over here, this 50 by 40 over here, and then a 40 by 20, which for each one of these I want to make into some sort of community venue. In this world so far I've got a wedding venue, but other than that I feel like currently I don't really have any initiative to get your Sims to visit here. I do plan on having a restaurant in the world of Tartosa, so it will be on one of these 3 lots, and I do also have another idea for a really fun community lot venue which we'll eventually build it someday soon. But yeah, that is the world of Tartosa, although it is looking quite empty right now, and that is because I just haven't moved some certain families in. But if you remember, in the world of Willow Creek we met the James family. So this is Elizabeth James, her dad, and then her daughter, but she also does have another daughter who currently is in the household bin, but this is Hallie Parker and her dad Nick Parker, who will be eventually living on this really big 50 by 50 lot in the world of Tartosa. I made these 2 households, and I've also just realised that yes, actually this is Nick Parker's mum, dad, and then sister, who I haven't made for any particular lot yet. Like, I will have them living in the world somewhere, just so there is some extra family trees. You know, Elizabeth James got a brother that lives in the world of Newcrest. Nick Parker will eventually have his sister living in a certain world, and I think I made it so his parents were just for the family tree. They're actually going to be in the grave in my save file. But regardless, when I made these Sims, I just love the film The Parent Trap so much. Like, it genuinely is one of my favourite films, and I made these Sims ages ago. Since then we had the Adventure Awaits expansion pack, and your Sims can go away to summer camp. These 2 kids, like Annie and Hallie, they're sisters in the game. They don't know it because I've already made it so Annie has absolutely no relationship to either her dad or her sister, but yeah, she does actually have a biological sister or biological twin actually, and yeah, a father that maybe one day in gameplay she can meet. But yeah, that is the world of Tartosa. I still want to have a few more households placed down here. I actually do have some family ties that I want to try and connect, because in the world of Windenburg there is a pre-existing household called the Party House household, if you're familiar with it. It is where Marcus Flex originally lives, if I can find the household again. Sorry, this world is a little bit empty, so I'm going to have to reference a few different things because the idea is there. It just hasn't been brought into fruition. Here we go. So Marcus Flex, like I said, he's got a sister Maria who lives in the world of San Myshuno, but these 2 are lovely ladies, Jade and Eva. I actually want to make it so they're cousins, and they're both originally from the world of Tartosa. I just haven't made their relatives yet, but yeah, they'll be living in one of these lots. But now moving on into the next world. This is the world of Moonwood Mill, and for my save file I have decided that I want to make it into a post-apocalyptic world. Now, I must admit, I am someone that I don't touch werewolves. Like, it's just not my cup of tea. I am not really an occult player. If it does ever come round to I actually want to play with occults, I will always play with spellcasters. They're just kind of like my go-to kind of, magical kind of creatures to play with. But in terms of werewolves, yeah, I must admit, I don't really play with them, but I have done a few builds in the world of Moonwood Mill, and for the direction of 2 of them, I went for very post-apocalyptic kind of vibes. And so yeah, I've decided for the world of Moonwood Mill, instead of making it so everyone's scared of zombies, there's going to be different Sims living here that are just absolutely petrified of werewolves. I just thought it would be really fun and interesting, and yeah, so I haven't actually moved anyone in yet. And then I have this house over here, which is on a 30 by 30 dot, but I still need to build on this 25-15 and then also a 40 by 30. There is already some pre-existing townies in this world, which I must admit I haven't touched yet in terms of makeovers, but I need to do a little bit of family tree work with Lily over here, because Lily has some very loose family ties to the Vautour family that we actually visited in the world of Forgotten Hollow. I'm not going to go into it, but if you want to know a little bit more Lily lore, if you want to put it that way, then yeah, you can watch that video, because I explained it quite in depth in that speed build. But now moving over to, again, one of my other favourite worlds in the game. This is the world of Copperdale. Now, the world of Copperdale is almost done, and I'm so excited about it because I just absolutely love this world. Over here in Prescott Square, I've already come in and rebuilt every single one of the lots here. So over here we have a family home, which I haven't moved in the Sims into this house yet, but I know what Sims I want to live there, and it's actually one of the townies that is in the High School Years expansion pack reveal trailer. It is a guy, can't remember his name, but he wears a red jacket. But basically, if you was to watch the trailer, you can actually find him on the Sims gallery. The Sims team actually uploaded him, and basically my plan was I wanted to create him a sister and then also a dad, and I think there is also a kid of the household, but I want them to live over here. But also in this neighbourhood, I have an arcade, a roller rink, and then also an apartment. I haven't created the Sims on the top levels yet. I feel like for some of the later worlds in the game, I really don't have that many Sims to show you, but I kind of started townie makeovers and kind of started townie ups, if you want to put it that way, from scratch from some of the earlier worlds, and it's kind of faded out a little bit in some of the more recent worlds. But I have got the idea for a dad and his son that he didn't really have a relationship with, but his mum sadly passed away, and she kind of had the dad set as the guardian. So this son has moved in with his dad. His dad owns the arcade and the roller rink, and also, yeah, they live on an apartment on the top level. I just thought having both an arcade but then also a roller rink in the High School Years base world was, yeah, just such a fun idea. And so that is what that lot is. Over here we've got the thrift store, the boba tea shop, and then also a nail salon and laundromat. I'm not going to visit it, but it is just a purely community based venue. But yeah, there's kind of like 4 different buildings, and kind of pick and choose what you want to venture to. Then across the street we have the Copperdale Cafe and Tattoo Shop. Basically, I just love the idea of Copperdale being this really small, kind of like cozy world where it kind of reminds me a little bit, it doesn't look anything like it, I don't think, but I think it's because there is a gazebo over here, but it kind of reminds me a bit of Gilmore Girls in a way. And I like the idea of having a really cozy coffee shop like Luke's Diner, if you've ever seen Gilmore Girls. Even though Luke's Diner is a restaurant, I just wanted there to be a cafe in this world. And so yeah, we have a cafe, and then next door we have a tattoo parlour. In case you've got a really naughty teenager and they want to go and get a tattoo, then yeah, they can do it after school over here. But then also in this neighbourhood we have the Hajaro family. So I haven't created any family members for their dad as of yet, but we have met Ava's sister, who is Georgia Coleman in the world of Willow Creek. This is her biological sister, and yeah, they have got some teenagers. I believe Noah is the dad's son, and then Ash is Ava's daughter. I believe that's the case anyway. I can't remember exactly what way round it is, but yeah, that is the Prescott Square neighbourhood. Over here in Rock Ridge Heights, I have already come in and built the high school. I'm just yet to do the auditorium, which is always such a difficult word for me to say because we don't say that word in the UK where I'm from. It's just completely foreign language to me, but it's basically where your Sims would have like their prom and their career day and stuff. I just haven't yet built one to match my high school. But down here in this area, so this is Plumbite Cove, and I've got 3 lots left to do. this 30 by 20 lot, which a pre-existing family are going to be living on. I'll show you them in a second. This one over here, this is a 20 by 15, and this is eventually going to be a starter home in my save file, and this over here is a park. I do really like the idea of making this into potentially some residential rentals. However, I am a little bit cautious because basically you see in my map I've got a little like fairground situation happening over here. Now in gameplay, the reason why Copperdale is one of my favourite worlds is because this is active. Like, your Sims can actually come to the fairground, they can use the different rides, they can get ice cream and stuff like that. Like, it's really fun, it's really cool. However, for Sims to actually populate here, I believe this is set to a park, so Sims will load into the park lot and they'll visit the fairground that way. I'm just not too sure if I make this into a residential rental, if Sims will still show up at the fairground, and so I need to do a little bit of testing with that. But yeah, I could potentially have some residential rentals over here. But in terms of some of the families, one of them I haven't popped into the game yet, but I'll quickly show you, and it is the Prescott family. Can't lie, I thought I deleted this family for a second because it took me ages to find them, but this is the Prescott family. They're a pre-existing family that come with the world of Copperdale. I have, however, just come in and given them a little bit of a makeover. Now, I can't remember their names off memory, however, I do remember that this is Molly, and she's one of the teenagers, which is in the high school years expansion pack. She lives here with her granddad and her mum and her little sister, and basically if you ever play with the high school years actual high school function, this is the principal of the high school. But yeah, I tried to give her a very principal looking outfit. But yeah, that is the Prescott family. And then also another family in this world is the Price family. So this is another pre-existing family that came with the high school years expansion pack. This is Janae Price. She lives here with her husband Marcel, their daughter Savannah, their son Sydney, their other son Jaden, and in my save file, their very close family friend Kevin Puri. Now, I haven't created Kevin's relatives yet. I have given him a makeover, but basically if you watch my speed build of their particular family home, I was saying that I love the idea that basically the mum of this household went to school with Kevin's mum, and Kevin is an exchange student that apparently Copperdale High School has like a really good program in, I think it's going to be like science or something, but basically it was a really good opportunity for Kevin to attend Copperdale High School and level up his skills. But he lives in my head anyway, originally in the world of Tomorang. Now, like I said, I haven't created his family yet. This is just literally in my mind. Initially I wasn't sure what world he was going to be from, but when I was speaking about it in the voiceover, a few people said that I should make it so he's from Tomorang, and so yeah, that is the direction that I'm going to take him in. But in my mind, he basically got invited to come and live with the Prices, and yeah, he is currently residing with them in their family home. I'm so happy with their makeover, especially the teenagers. I really didn't like how they originally looked. If you're familiar with the high school years expansion pack, they were very EA. If I'm being honest, their outfits just was not my cup of tea. It might be your cup of tea, but it wasn't the vibe that I wanted to go for. I especially love Savannah's outfit. I really wanted her to be very cool, very trendy, and I just love what she's wearing. But I'm not going to show you their outfits too much other than this little preview over here. But they also do have a cat who is called Wendy, which I just think is a really lovely name. But now moving on to the next world, which is San Sequoia. So in this world, I haven't touched any of the kind of like community section. By default, this is meant to be a vacation rental, but I'm going to be making it into a community lot in my save file. But yeah, I haven't touched any of this section yet. I've got plans for what I want to do in the world of San Sequoia, which I'm really excited about the plans that I've got, but I just haven't gotten around to doing them yet because some of the things I want to do are quite big things. But over here in this neighbourhood, this is Gilbert Gardens. So this is a 64 by 64 lot, which is meant to be the recreation centre, and I'm going to build it one day. I need to get the right idea for it, because I have got a combination of multiple different pictures that I want to do for this build and kind of like combine them into one. But it is a community lot, which is on the biggest lot type in the game, a 64 by 64 lot. So I'm just yet to actually sit down and and actually brave it and attempt to build the recreation centre here. But yeah, there'll eventually be one here, and then I've already built the rest of the residentials in this world. Oh, this is the Michelson family actually. This is a pre-existing family that came with the Growing Together expansion pack. By default, when you enter a brand new save file, it was only Celeste, Christopher, Atlas and their little baby infant. The granddad, for some reason, he was in the trailer for the Growing Together EP, but they didn't ship him with the launch of the game. I then found him on the gallery, like EA separately uploaded him, and I've now attached him to the household. So yeah, he is a relative of them. But over here I've built some San Francisco townhouses. I haven't yet created the Sims that are going to live in them, but I know who I want to have living in them, if that makes any sense. But then also in the last neighbourhood, which is Hopewell Hills, I've only got one lot left to do, which is a 30 by 20 lot, and I'm going to be making it a starter home in my save file. But yeah, that is pretty much it for the world of San Sequoia. There is some townies up here, which are the Robles family. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. I must admit, I've literally, I don't think ever seen these Sims in my own personal gameplay. And so I will be giving them a makeover. Whether or not they're going to be living in my save file, I don't know. There might just be some homeless Sims. It looks like someone's had some children. That shouldn't have happened because I have got my MC command center settings, so no one should be popping out babies. So gonna have to go and delete them. Or were they already in? I don't know, but I'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But yeah, I haven't got that many townies in this world. But if you remember Yasmin over in the world of Willow Creek, I really like the idea for her to eventually move out of her brother's house and actually move to this world. But now moving on to the next world in my save file, which is one of my favourite worlds in the game, and it is the world of Chestnut Ridge. Now, the world of Chestnut Ridge is such a random world to be one of your favourite ones in the game, but I think for me it kind of stems more from the fact of I love all the different households and all the different storylines that I've got in this world. Like this world, they're proper blended here, and some of the family trees that I'm going to show you are very detailed. Now, to start it off, I quickly want to show you the different lots that I've still got left to build on. This is a 30 by 20, which eventually will be a western bar. Over here, we have a 30 by 20. It's meant to be a residential, but I actually have a plan, and I've already got the pictures for it and everything, but I really want to build a coffee shop in this world, and so this is going to be a little coffee shop. And then over here, this is an empty 20 by 20. And then actually, once again, we have a 40 by 30 lot, which I eventually want to make into a horse training camp. Initially, and I feel like I'm telling you all of my secrets here, but basically initially when we got the Adventure Awaits EP, I was thinking that I could make some sort of like horse training school, but unless you're someone that plays with mods, you actually can't assign any real tasks for your Sims to interact with horses if you have it to be a getaway. And so I think instead I'm going to make it into a small business venue, and yeah, have it so if your Sims want to come and train their horses, they can do it here. Over here though, we have the Western Wedding Chapel. Now, I actually only built this a few weeks ago, and there is two versions of this build on my gallery. There is a version where your Sims can use it as some sort of wedding venue, so you know your Sims can come here and they can have a very Western or like cowboy kind of based wedding. Or if you fancy, there is also a second version of this, and the second version functions as a funeral thing. So if your Sims have passed away and they so happen to live in the world of Chestnut Ridge and you needed somewhere to have a funeral, there is a version of this very Western church, which you'll see in the back of it. I promise it looks much better in gameplay mode, but yeah, your Sims can also host funerals here. But in terms of the Sims that live in this world, I need to start it off by venturing up here to the Gooseman family. Don't know if you recognise the name yet. Now, I will need to be popping into the family tree to really show you the extent of this household's relatives, but basically you've already seen a fair few in the world of Henford-on-Bagley. There is also some loose ties in the world of Myshuno, but this gentleman here, this is Don Gooseman, and basically this is his wife, Laura Gooseman. These two Sims are his parents. I just wanted them to be there for purely the family tree. But if I show you over here, we actually have some more relatives to the Gooseman, different last names, because you know people get married and they change their last names depending on their partner. But I'm actually going to pop into the... Tell you what, I'll go to the Campbell's family tree and I'll show you a little bit more about Chestnut Ridge's heritage. So we have kind of seen John already. He lives in the world of Henford-on-Bagley, if you're familiar. He has James Don Gooseman, who James is named after his uncle Don Gooseman, and then Don also named one of his sons, or his only son actually, after his brother. So both of their brothers basically had a son and tried to follow on with their siblings' names. But yeah, John Gooseman, he has 3 children, which we've already met, and then they also have some kids in the world of Henford-on-Bagley. But focusing in on Don Gooseman, so Don and his wife Maeve, together they had 4 children. So we have Montana Laurie Campbell. Laurie is a family name and she's named after her grandmother. Then they also had Georgia Ray Harrison, who she's married to Tucker Harrison. I'll show you them in a second. They also had Maeve and Don. Also then had another 3rd child called Charlotte Ann Rosewood. We've already met this family in the world of Strangerville. You know how I said about the big legacy family and all the different like military stuff? That is his daughter Charlotte, and they also had a son, Bradley John Gooseman. Now I'm not really going to show you the family ties with these Sims purely because we've already gone over them in some of the different worlds. However, for Montana and Georgia, these are new Sims I'm showing you in the world of Chestnut Ridge. So yeah, Montana is married to Rhett Campbell, and together they have Paisley Grace Campbell and Rosanna Mary Campbell. I have already come in and made Rhett's mum and dad. So this is Bill Campbell and his wife Mary Campbell. Mary is a family name because Rhett named one of his daughters, his eldest, Rosanna Mary, after his late mum. But Rhett does also have a brother who you can actually kind of see in the back corner over here, and this is Colton Campbell. Now Colton lives with his brother in this like massive family ranch, and he does also have a son, but he doesn't live in the world of Chestnut Ridge, and he actually lives in the world of Willow Creek. Now I don't know if you remember, because it was at this point a couple of hours ago, but when I was introducing you to some of the townies in the world of Willow Creek, in particular in the neighbourhood of Foundry Cove, I was talking about the Jennings family. So do you remember we've got Paul Jennings and Melanie Jennings, and they had Matthew and Kristen. Kristen basically had a one night stand with Mr. Colton Campbell, who lives in the world of Chestnut Ridge, and Colton is a really bad dad. Like he's not going to have a very good relationship with his son, and so instead of him raising his child, he's never really had anything to do with it. So his son Billy lives with his uncle. So annoyingly it doesn't show up in that part of the family tree. I really wish that the trees in the game would kind of be a little bit more extensive, because I mean, as we've discovered, there is so much more going on from just this small little section. But yeah, Colton Jackson has a son in the world of Willow Creek. But popping back to Don Gooseman, so I think I'll go Rhett, Montana, and then yeah, here we're back to Don Gooseman. So that is this little section over here. But Montana also has a sister who is also her neighbour. She literally lives in the big fancy Tennessee house next door. This is Georgia Ray Harrison, and she is married to Tucker Harrison. Now I haven't actually made Tucker's relatives yet, but I plan for him to have a brother and his brother have a son, and it be kind of like a single dad situation in this world. If you have read a very popular series which is called the Chestnut Springs series, which I absolutely love, I want to try and make Cade in the game, but Cade is the brother of Tucker. If you've never read that series, don't worry, I basically want there to be a quite good looking dad in the world of Chestnut Springs that lives alone with his little boy. But this is the Harrison branch of the family tree. So Tucker and Georgia together, they had 4 children. Starting off with the eldest, this is Warner Harrison, and he looks a little bit different from the rest of his family members, because a lot of the members in this family tree, as you can probably see, are going down the very like cowboy cowgirl kind of route, which I love. Like I love this for the world of Chestnut Ridge. However, Warner isn't going to be living in this world in my save file. He's currently here residing in this neighbourhood because I want to still take some family photos, but he's instead going to be a university student, and I want him to be studying at the Foxbury Institute. Alongside him though, Tucker and Georgia also went on to have another 3 children. We have Stevie Harrison, and then also Holden Harrison, and then the last little baby is the newest addition to their family tree, and this is Magnolia Harrison. I really hope all of this is easy enough to follow along with, but I just love this. I love being able for you to eventually, when this save is released, you being able to click on any random townie and just literally go and explore their family tree and just see what kind of, what kind of avenues they have got and who they're connected to. It's just so blended, and yeah, I absolutely love it. But that is the Gooseman family. So I'm back onto the world map now, and I still want to show you some more family trees because I still need to give you a formal introduction to this family over here, which you saw at the very start of the video. This is the Jackson family. So they do have a small business on their lot, which you can see is called the Tipsy Carriage. But if I pop into their household, I will show you a little bit more of them. Okay, so this is the Jackson residence. Apologies for the bad lighting. I actually built this house maybe like 3 months ago now, but when I initially built it, I was mentioning in that speed build that I built it backwards because the lighting on this night is absolutely dreadful. But I wanted to quickly show you in the back shed their little small business. So this is the Tipsy Garage, and it's basically somewhere where your Sims can visit, and if they want to, buy a few bottles of different types of nectar. But in terms of the actual family themselves, we've got a few of them out the front, a couple of them that have since passed away, which we will get into, but this is the family in my save, which currently are the only ones that have got a mini game attached to them. I would like to do some other mini games, but this is the first one that I've done. So basically, if I pop into the family tree, I'll show you what is going on. Okay, so starting off with the parents of the household. So this is Jasper Jackson, and this is his soon-to-be ex-wife, Faith Jackson. Now, Jasper is the brother of Faye Harris, who lives in the world of Evergreen Harbor. She is the one that is married to Cletus. They've got 2 children. Cletus is the son of Francine Spencer, who is the sister of Lydia Kim Lewis. Basically, you can get all the way down to Olivia Kim Lewis, the little girl that lives in the world of Willow Creek, from just this one family alone, and I love it. It's kind of like a little mini game that you can kind of just go on and explore in my save. But yeah, the dad of the household, his sister is Faye Harris, and the mum, Faith Jackson, she has a sister in the world of Strangerville called Meredith Roswell. These 2 basically had a few different children, as you can see from the family tree. Apologies if you just heard my monitor click, but basically it first started off with their first set of twins, who is Jesse Jackson and Dal Jackson. So as you can see, Dal is no longer with us. He was a teenager when he passed. He was actually doing quite bad in school. He was a grade F student, but basically him and his sister Jessie, they were like the absolute best of friends. They were twins, so I feel like they had some sort of connection from quite literally birth, but they were like a match in fire. Like, they just got on so well. But there also was another member of this really amazing friendship, if you want to put it that way, and that is, if you go over here, this is Alaska Crow. And you can see, if you click on her, she has a dad who is called Mato Crow, and he was the kind of like 3rd member, kind of like the 3rd musketeer to Jessie and then also Dal. Again, it's a little bit annoying that you can't actually see Dal right now, but it's just the way that the Sims 4 family tree works. But you know that Dal's over here, but basically Dal, Jessie and Mato, like I said, they were the absolute best of friends. But alongside with Dal passing away due to electrocution, you can also see that Mato did as well. And basically the idea that I've got for these two teenagers was they just got into a really tragic accident in the world of Chestnut Ridge. They both were quite naughty in terms of they would always skip school anyway. Jessie also used to skip school, and if I show you her in a second, you will see that she does actually have a special trait in the game, and it is high school dropout. She never made it out of high school. She never got her diploma because when she was a teenager and Mato was still alive, she fell pregnant with their daughter Alaska, and it ended up her being a high school dropout. Now, whilst we're here, I might as well also show you, but Mato is related to some pre-existing townies when you enter a brand new save file. He's not by default, but I wanted there to be family ties, do you know what I mean? Like, I wanted there to be them connections, so he is the biological brother of a townie called Juniper Grove. Now, Juniper, when you enter a brand new save file, she's got a husband, Umber, and they have a little boy called Ren. However, for my save file, I decided to give them another little baby, and this is baby Kate. I have also come in and made Mato's dad. This is Condacrowell, and then also Umber I have already come in and made it so he will eventually have some family members that would have passed away. He's also the brother of another townie called Sienna. We have got so many different family relationships going on, but I just love it. Like, I genuinely find so much enjoyment just kind of clicking through all these different family trees. But yeah, Jessie, she had Alaska when she was a teenager. Unfortunately, Alaska never got to meet her dad, but that is just the way that it worked out for her. Now moving on to the next set of twins in this family tree. So alongside with having Dale and Jessie Jackson, Jasper and Faith then had a second set of twins, and this is Emmett and Beckett. So these two, I thought it'd be really funny to give them like matching names, but basically the idea that I've got for these two is they're a little bit like Dumb and Dumber. Currently, they're grade C in school, so they're doing okay. Like, that is the default when you create a teenage sim, but I'm gonna make it so they're gonna be doing absolutely dreadful in school, because I just imagine that these two just get up to absolute chaos in the world of Chestnut Ridge, and I just thought it would be just so fun to have these particular characters, yeah, be your sim's potential high school friends, or maybe not high school friends, maybe just friends that they maybe meet at a party, because I don't imagine that these two really go to school that often. But amongst having Beckett and Emmett, Faith, the mum, did also fall pregnant once again. This time though, she didn't have a set of twins, and it resulted in her daughter Ren Jackson. Now, pretty much, as you can see, we've got loads of twins going on. We've got Jessie and we've got Dal. We then also had Beckett and Emmett. We then had Ren in the middle, but Ren is a little bit of a lone wolf. She doesn't unfortunately have a twin, which I'll get onto in a second. But basically, I've already kind of told you, but basically after Ren was born, it was Georgia and Austin. So they are the last set of twins in this family. Georgia does actually share a room with her sister's little girl Alaska, which I think that makes them auntie and niece off memory. I can't think. I've been chatting to you for a good few hours now, so my mind's gone a little bit blurry. But she does share a room with Alaska. They actually have a room downstairs, and Alaska and Georgia, they are like the best of friends. They go around telling people that they're cousins, but they're actually not. It's just a little bit easier to explain to people. But yeah, Ren over here, she's the only family member in this household that comes from supposedly Faith and Jasper Jackson that isn't a twin. And like I already said at the very start, the reason for it is because she is not the biological daughter of Jasper. Now, I have already come in and there's some stuff missing here, because she has got a biological dad in my save file, but I don't want to spoil it for you, because I knew that I would end up showing you some of these family trees and it'll just be a big fat spoiler. So I've deleted him from the family tree momentarily. He will be here in my save file, so if you want to not play this minigame and just find out who it is from the get-go, you can definitely check here. But basically in this save file with this family, I've already come in and in Ren's bedroom, so the teenage girl, let me just quickly show you her. This is Ren over here. You can see actually, this is perfect, her outfit. what she is wearing, you can see that she's got this particular birthmark. Now with this birthmark, she basically has a matching one with her dad. So with this mini game that I've created, you could either go about it two ways. You could try and run around every single world in The Sims 4 and try and figure out who her dad is, because, you know, it could be anyone. Like, there is plenty of Sims, 300 plus in this save file, so you could try and figure out who her dad is, because they have both got the matching birthmark, which I just created using the tattoo feature in the game, but it's in the exact same space, so it's really easy to find. However, if you don't want to do that and you would rather have a little bit of a investigation, if you pop down into her bedroom over here, it's a very dark bedroom, but I have basically come in and I'm not going to click on them because it will completely spoil it, but actually no, do you know what? I'm going to click on it, but I'll blur it. So I have written 5 books in total and basically dotted them about in this world, so you're going to have to try and find them. And basically they're in different like storage boxes, or they're in, you know, in this example this is clue 1, this is the backpack in Ren's room, but there is 5 different books and each book has a title, which I actually got Faith to write herself, and each book, the title is a different clue to who Ren's dad is. Genuinely took me hours to do this because I really wanted to be proper smart and I didn't want to give it away, and so all the clues, I feel like once you figure out who her dad is, it's going to be like, that makes sense, I get why you did that now. But I've tried to keep it so you're not going to get it straight away, but hopefully you should be able to find out, who Ren's biological dad is. Like I said, you can either play the mini game and run around this world and try and find, run around this lot and find all different books that I have kind of scattered about. It's kind of like a little bit of a scavenger hunt. There might be some in bookcases, there might be some in, I don't know, a suitcase upstairs or something like that. I'm not going to tell you where they are, but I'll tell you where the first one is. And yeah, it is in the backpack in her bedroom, but each name of the book is a different clue, and that way you can figure out who her biological dad is. Also, whilst I am already loaded into this household, I thought I might as well show you some of the family photos that I've already come in and taken. So in the dining room alone, so over here we have a few family photos, more so photos of the mum of the household when she does eventually pass away, which I feel like I'm kind of breaking the illusion here, because she's in the front garden right now, but she would have passed away eventually. But this is Dal, so this is the teenage son that sadly passed away due to electrocution. But up here, you know, I was saying how Mato, Jessie and Dal, they were the best of friends, they were the 3 musketeers. Hopefully from this photo it kind of shows that. But yeah, we have Jasper and his wife Faith, and then we have Faith alone. We have Jessie and Dal when they were teenagers. She looks a little bit younger because I did purposely, you know, age her down and stuff. But yeah, that is some family photos there. I still need to take a few more, but popping upstairs, so this is Jessie's bedroom and this is her and Mato when they were teenagers. So over here, this is Jessie and Mato right before he sadly passed away. You can see her little baby bump, which is so sweet. But also we've got some pictures of them before her pregnancy. I've got some pictures of her and her best friend Dell, like her twin brother who passed away. We've also got some more pictures of the 3 musketeers, and then also this is baby Alaska when she was a little baby. But yeah, that is just some of the family photos. Also got another one over there. I still need to do a few more. There is also some others over. I've taken so many photos, like I said, for this save file. And this is also one of Faith's sister. So this is Meredith Roswell, who lives in the world of Strangerville. That is the sister of Faith. But yeah, I've taken so many different photographs in my save file so far, and I plan to take even more. I just feel like for storytelling purposes, it really helps show the family and kind of like the lore behind them. Also, I remember I took this one because I just thought it would be lovely for the household every single day when they walk out the front door. They kind of have a picture of Faith, the mum, and then also their brother or their son, you know, Dal. It's just right by the front door. It's it's really sweet. But yeah, I love this family. I love the minigame. I love everything about them. But that is the Jackson family in the world of Chestnut Ridge. Now, as I've just loaded it back to the map view, I just realised that I said to you that I would show you Jessie's trait that I don't want to say I gave her, because I actually did, like, I played with this family a little bit, and I got her to be a high school dropout, but she is a high school dropout. That is one of the traits that is assigned to her. It makes it so, going forward, if she wanted to get a job, some particular careers, she has to go through some online schooling, because yeah, she never graduated high school. But that is in this little section of Riders Glen. I have one lot left to build, which I know exactly what I'm going to be building here, but I'm not going to say too much. All I will say is it's going to be somewhere where your Sims can move into. But yeah, that is the world of Chestnut Ridge. Also, this wedding chapel, some of the graves that we've got outside, they're going to end up over here. And then also over in this section where the Grove family live. Also, they've got some graves. They're going to end up also in this wedding chapel's like graveyard. But now moving over to the next world. The next couple of worlds that I'm going to be showing you, I must admit, they're not going to be as in detail because I'm not going to try and focus on them too much. But this is the world of Tomarang. So far, I've only built 3 different things in this world. We've got a couple's camper van, which this, I didn't mean for it to be, but it actually ended up being a starter home, but for 2 Sims. All of my other starter homes in my save file are going to be starter homes on a single Sim budget. For this one, this isn't actually going to be a starter home, but it is a starter home for 2 Sims, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I've got quite a few lots left to do still in the world of Tomarang. But over here we've got a cheap hostel, which if you're Sims, maybe you've got like a really adventurous Sim and they want to travel out to all the different worlds and experience what every single one has to offer. Your Sims, eventually, this will be running as a small business and your Sims can come and stay here. Now that we've got the getaway system from the Adventure Awaits expansion pack, I do kind of like the idea of setting this to be a custom venue. There is actually going to be a older lady who lives upstairs in the hostel who I imagine owns the hostel. It used to be her husband's. Her husband passed away. This has got a whole storyline within itself, like all of the other builds. But yeah, I don't know if I should do it to be a custom venue or if I should just set it to be a residential that hopefully you would have the prompt to maybe venture out to. The only reason why I'm hesitant to set this to be kind of like a getaway venue is I have to set it to be a normal residential, and then in game it'll be a situation of you'd have to know that there's a hostel here, whereas if I set it to be a small business, then you can actually actively see above it that eventually there will be the logo for the small business. Does that make sense? I really hope I haven't confused you, but yeah, that is the world of Tomarang. Like I said, I haven't really done it too much in this world, but then moving over to the world of Ravenwood, similar kind of situation. I really haven't touched this world and I'm not really going to for the moment. Now recently I rebuilt the Goths a brand new home in the world of Willow Creek, which was probably around about an hour or 2 ago, which we explored. But when I was building at that house, I was kind of showing you all these different houses that I tried at one point to make for the Goth family, and there was this one particular house which I popped a picture up on the screen of it, and I said that I might want to eventually rebuild it one day in the world of Ravenwood. That is really the only plan that I've got for this world going forward. Like I said, I don't want to focus on worlds that I haven't really started with my save file so far, because I really do want to get this save file out. Like, I cannot express to you how much I want to share it, but I'm just not in a position right now where I want to share it, because I want to have a little bit more done. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've been working on this for a while. I just want to have a few more things under my belt before it's released. I say a few more things, more than a few, but you kind of get my gist. But in this world, I haven't even touched any of the townies, and it's kind of like the same thing for the rest of the following worlds. I haven't touched them. But to be fair, some of the townies that are coming in this world in particular, and also some of the more recent DLCs, I don't really feel like I need to give them a makeover, because they're not dressed that badly. This sim is a perfect example because this is Olive Spectre, and she's got a whole bunch of lore in terms of Sims 2. If you're familiar with The Sims 2, I don't know if you ever played it, but she was in The Sims 2. They brought her back in The Sims 4 with the Life and Death EP. But sometimes I see Olive just strutting about in the world, and like, her outfit kind of slaps. I'm not gonna lie, I love this little top. But yeah, I haven't touched any of the townies in the world of Ravenwood. The next world we're moving on to is Nordhaven. Again, I haven't really touched this world so far. I've got 3 lots in total. I've got a art gallery with a cafe and apartment over here, and then in this neighbourhood I've already come in and built a tattoo parlour, a pottery studio and an apartment, and then over here I've already built a starter home. It's kind of like a starter home with a potential business space if you want it to be attached to it, but if you just want to get your Sims to move in there and they don't have to have a business, like you can get anyone to move in there. But yeah, I haven't really touched any other lots apart from 3 in this world. But like I said, I do have plans for the Bergerson family over in the world of Windenburg. Let me quickly find them. This lovely family, I do have plans for the dad of this household to have a brother in this world, and then also the mum of this household. I'd love her to have also some family relations, but it's just I haven't got there yet. And then the world of Innisgreen, I've got I think 4 lots in total in this world, unless I haven't placed them all down yet. But I have a fairy starter home over here. This is 19,082 simoleons. I've then also built over here a Innisgreen fairy castle. Both of these are for my save. And then also the last one that is currently placed down is this storybook fairy cottage. Now these 3 were builds that I did when we first got our hands on the Adventure Awaits expansion pack, and I really like the builds. And to be fair, right now I'm not really focusing on completing Innisgreen, you know, like it's not top priority for me. I've got some other worlds that are a little bit higher up on the list, and so I thought, do you know what, I'm actually just going to place down the lots in this world anyway. To be fair, when I built them, I had the intention to use them for my save file, but it's just a little bit weird with these ones because they only have Enchanted by Nature and base game in them, which typically in my save file is not a patch restricted build, but I don't know, I just really like these ones. But yeah, there is one other lot which it appears I haven't for some reason placed down. I could have sworn that I did, but basically ages ago I built a hobbit hole well before we even had word of the Enchanted by Nature expansion pack, and I built it in the world of Henford-on-Bagley. I basically want to move that hobbit hole into the world of Innisgreen, and hopefully it can fit on this lot over here, the 40 by 30 lot. But yeah, in terms of this little section down here, the coast of Summit, I don't know how you pronounce that, but I haven't even touched any of this neighbourhood. But then moving on to the last world in the game, which is Gibby Point. So this is the latest world that we have in the game. We got it from the Adventure Awaits expansion pack, and so far in this world I've only placed down 2 lots. We've got my Gibby Point summer camp, which 100% I'm having this in my save file. This is like one of, I don't want to say one of my favourite builds because I feel like every build is one of my favourite builds, but I built this fairly recently when the Adventure Awaits expansion pack came out, and 100% this is in my save. Annie and Hallie, you know, Parent Trap, Nick Parker, Elizabeth James, she lives in Willow Creek, he lives in eventually Tartosa. For some reason I haven't moved them in yet, but their daughters, they're going to go to camp in one of my gameplays in the future, and they're going to meet each other, and I just love it so much. But you know, I have built the summer camp over here, and then also I've got a lake cabin getaway for your Sims to come and have a lovely little relaxing weekend too. But in terms of the rest of the world, I really haven't touched like any of the townies or anything. Like I just said, I mean, I feel like with some of the more recent expansion packs, or at least worlds that we've been given, some of the townies, they're not doing too bad. Like, I don't feel like I need to run into Cass and give them a makeover straight away. Some of them I'm not a massive fan of, but there's others that, you know, I'm not too fussed. I will give every single townie a makeover, hopefully before my save file comes out, but I just haven't done it. I haven't done it yet, but I did just want to talk about this sim because this is a sim that came with the Adventure Awaits expansion pack, and I was already planning to have him in my save file, but he shipped with this new DLC. I just want to say, skip broke. I'm going to use him as a base for my save file. I'm going to use him for a sim in the family tree, but he is no longer going to be here in my save because I've had plans for a good few years about the Broke family, and I knew that I wanted to include them in my save file got a lot picked out for the rest of his family that was in previous Sims games. But yeah, when the Adventure Awaits expansion pack came out and I saw that Skip was in it, I was thinking, well, good thing I ain't created one myself yet, because I'll just use him and I'll pop him into a grave eventually. But there is also some other families which I completely skipped over. But for example, if I pop back into the managed households, there is the Pleasant sisters. They originally came with the University expansion pack, Discover University, and I am not going to be having them as university students in my save, and instead I'm going to have them to be teenagers when I find them and they're going to be living in the world of Windenburg. Okay, I finally found them. So this is Angela and Lilith Pleasant, and yeah, these two girls, they're going to be in my save file. I didn't show you them because I haven't aged them down yet, but I will be eventually making them into teenagers, and they're going to be living in the world of Windenburg. And whilst we're here, but we've been here long enough, do you know what I mean? I might as well show you. But they are going to be living in this particular lot over here, this 40 by 30 big Tudor family home with their dad Daniel Pleasant and their mum Mary Sue Pleasant. It's one of them things that I haven't gotten around to. And with the Pleasant family as well, they come from previous versions of the Sims games, and so, you know, there's a lot of things I need to do to kind of set up for that particular family. But yeah, that is pretty much every single world that I am in the process of my save file. Popping back to my main menu, it's been so long, it is now night time. Like I said at the very start, this is dynamic, so it changes depending on what time of day it is. But yeah, we are very much now into the evening. But that was a very big deep dive on my save file. I have no idea how long this video is going to end up being, but regardless, I really hope you enjoyed kind of seeing where I am with my save file so far. Like I said, I'm still in the process of making it, and there's not going to be a link in the description or anything like that for you to download it right now. I've still got a good amount of stuff I want to get done, but I just felt like I kind of needed to show you where I'm at so you can kind of get a little bit of a general idea. And also, I've just created so many different townies and just given them so much depth to them, like by either giving them, you know, family relationships, doing the family tree, whether it's from taking photographs with them and, you know, posing them, aging them down, and just I put so much time and energy and effort and just so much into the save file. And so I really wanted to kind of show you where I'm at with it. But other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here. Thank you so much if you have stuck it out all the way to the end. That it means the absolute world to me if you have actually made it this far into the video. And yeah, I appreciate you so much. But other than that, I'm gonna go ahead end this voiceover right here. And yeah, if you do enjoy my content, then please do subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in my next Sims 4 probably speed building video. Bye guys.